Okay.
Along with Randy Southard at the Frontenac Raiders Sports Complex at Sub-State Football Semifinals, Final Four, as the Frontenac Raiders play host to the Hayden Wildcats. The other part of this bracket, you have Scott Community at Holcomb, and those two teams locked up earlier in the year, and Scott Community goes in with an 11-0 record, and Holcomb at 10-1, and the only loss Holcomb was to Scott City. They're in the other semi, and of course you got the Frontenac Raiders with their 8-3 mark, and the Hayden Wildcats with their 7-4 record. The Raiders of Mark Smith coming in at 8-3, coming off that 55-21 win at Holton last Friday. The Hayden Wildcats of Bill Arnold, again 7-4, and they won 30-24 over Burlington, so it should be an excellent contest. Looking forward to this one. Pretty evenly matched teams, both on a roll, and boy, weather-wise, warm but breezy. A strong south wind going to have an impact on the contest here tonight. Don't believe it's going to be dying down here anytime soon. And boy, looking forward to this one. I know the Raiders on a high after knocking off Holton and now getting to the Final Four, and looking forward to this. You know, one of the state heavyweights coming in here and playing at the Raiders Sports Complex, the Hayden Wildcats. Some other action going on in the area tonight. You've got Colgan entertaining Opie at Hutchfield in Pittsburgh. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff, and you can hear it on 1340 AM and 107.9 FM. And also St. Paul playing host to Burlingame in the 8-man Division I. That started at 6, and the last score we had was Burlingame was up 6-0. Is that correct?
Correct.
So
that was about 8 minutes ago in the first quarter. No updates since then.
Okay, so we'll keep you updated on those games. Boy, it's getting interesting as the title game's coming up next Saturday, and the 4A Division II will be in Salina. And we'll see if the Raiders get to make that trek up there, if they can handle the Wildcats here this evening. And earlier this week, we talked with both Hayden coach Bill Arnold and Frontenac coach Mark Smith. Will be back with those conversations after we take a 2-minute break. You're listening to the Frontenac Raiders on 103.5 FM. Rob Strand, Randy Southard back at the Raiders Sports Complex as the Frontenac Raiders hosting the Hayden Wildcats in the Sub-State semifinal, Final Four. And again, the other side of the bracket, you're going to have Scott Community at Holcomb. Two teams played early in the year. Scott Community won that one in one touchdown game, and winner of that one, winner of this one will meet in Salina 1 week from tomorrow for the Class 4A Division II state title. And boy, looking forward to this one. A nice crowd, like we mentioned, warm but breezy. Staunch south breeze going to have an impact on this contest. And the Frontenac Raider marching band out in the middle of the field, and Raiders to the near side, the north side, for their waiting for the arrival of the Hayden Wildcats, as they'll be on the south side here at the Raiders Sports Complex. And boy, looking forward to this one. A couple of teams on a roll, and I know they're anxious to get this one going. Finally get to play. Been a long week.
It has been a long week, and you know, you can feel the excitement in the air, not just with the players, but the crowd and everybody here. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and do the national anthem. So the band is out there on the field, and so we'll let the Raider band play the national anthem for you.
The Frontenac Raider marching band is under the direction of Mr. Felicia Graves. The flag will be raised by members of the Frontenac American Legion Post 43.
And the national anthem by the Frontenac Raider Marching Band. And you can hear by a wild sound, Mike, that, boy, a brisk breeze out there. And again, directly from the south, been blowing all day, and it's not going to die down here at the kickoff or anything. So that'll have a across the field effect, which obviously is going to have impact because it's getting after it. And that's what they call for. That's good. I guess it's better tonight than tomorrow when the high's going to be 50 tomorrow and down in the 30s. So, and Randy Southern with me, and he's got the starting lineups for tonight's contest.
For Topeka Hayden on offense, starting up front on the offensive line, senior Kyle Meyer, a junior Daniel Hernandez, a junior Philip Vogelli, a junior Cade Grunert, a senior Griffin Walker. The starting tight end is senior Hayden Federico. The wide receiver is senior Deshaun Hanukkah. The three running backs is senior Noah Williams, freshman Desmond Purnell, and senior Brent Peevler. And the starting quarterback is senior Samson Houston. For the Frontenac Raiders on offense, at center, starting as senior Jordan Ishimura. The two guards, senior Dylan Toll and senior Nathan Kaufman. The two tackles, senior Trey Harris and senior Cal Strand. Starting at tight end, senior Zach Roseborough. The two receivers, senior Brock Ginnivan and junior Brendan Ishimura. Starting fullback is senior Cooper Loy. Starting tailback is senior Jake Wilbert. And the starting quarterback is senior Peyton Brown.
That's the starting lineups for tonight's contest. And I guess while we have a moment before the captains go to the middle of the field, what about the keys for tonight's ball game?
Well, you know, Topeka Hayden, offensively, they like to do both. They'll pass and they will run. Out of the run, it's more out of the wing T type of set. Number 47 is the more the fullback and the power runner. That is Peevler. Purnell is more of the speed guy. They love the counter tray up front. They have big offensive linemen, not the fastest in the world. Sometimes that counter tray takes a little while to to develop, but it has been a successful play. In the pass game, they'll throw it a lot. They're willing to take the 5 and out, but they also love to go down the field. And number 5, that's Deshaun Hanukkah, is a big-time target, over 1,100 yards so far on the season. So for them offensively, they want to make sure they can do the mix of the run and pass. They don't want to get one-dimensional, don't want to have the Raider defense dictate whether they need to run or throw the football. Defensively for Hayden, they were a 4-4 base. Their linebackers tend to read the running backs, so cutbacks has given them a little bit of a problem. Misdirection can give them a little bit of a problem, but other than that, they are very sound defensively. Their pass coverage is zone all the way. It's usually 3 deep on the back end, and then they'll have 4 underneath. They're very good in coverage and finding the receivers. They do not give very often wide open plays in the pass game. The cornerbacks will give a big cushion, but they do come up very quickly, which makes me wonder if the Raiders can hit a couple of those early. You're setting them up for the double moves. The big question on defense for them, to me, is what are the cornerbacks and the safety? What are they going to do with Brock Ginnivan on the outside? Are they going to let the corner go one-on-one, or are they going to roll a safety over the top? If they roll the safety over the top, it opens up more of the middle of the field for the Raiders, and they'll be more than happy to take care of it. I think Hayden just wants to limit big plays. No big plays for the Raiders tonight. They want to see if the Raiders can march the ball, 4, 5, 6 yards at a time. Can they do that all the way down the field? For the Frontenac Raiders on offense, they're going to want to, again, use the run to set up the pass. A lot of different formations like we've seen all year long that really confused Holton last week, I felt. Not to mention it's a way that Coach Smith can get Ginnivan one-on-one matchups and get some more big plays just strictly by formation. And then the biggest thing really for me is no turnovers for the Raiders tonight. Cannot give this team from Topeka Hayden a short field at all. Take care of the football and just keep doing what you're doing. Defensively for the Raiders, I think the key is up front. That defensive line, they need to
complex. And again, this is the one sub-state on the other side. You've got Scott Community at Holcomb, so we'll try and keep you up to date on some of those scores. And the other area action is Colgan playing host to Opie, that game at Hutchfield in Pittsburgh, and of course St. Paul and Burlingame. And I think we have an update on the
about 6:59 in the second quarter. Burlingame has a 12-8 lead at St. Paul.
So battle at St. Paul. So the Raiders will kick off. Trieris will tee it at the 40, and dropping back to receive the kickoff for the Hayden Wildcats is Desmond Purnell, 5'11", 167-pound freshman, flanked by Trey Miller. And also back there is Luke Anand, second number 7 over there in any event.
Yeah, Purnell has some good speed. Not the shiftiest runner, as he's a little.
Hanukkah in the slot to the left side is Matthew Moore.
Able to quite catch up with it, and then it takes a good bounce for Hayden. So pretty effectively flipped the field position there on the first drive.
Raiders 1st and 10. They'll start from their own 28-yard line. 10:39 left here in the first quarter. No score. The Raiders' initial offensive possession. Raiders in their home black jerseys, black pants, black helmets with white numerals and trim. Wide left goes Ginn. Slot to the right is Shamira. Running back Wilbert behind Brown in the gun. Give Brown. Wilbert's got some room. He is across the 35, the 40, got a first down.
Yeah, and this really, Ginnivan doesn't do much other than stand out there by himself, and they've chosen to double team him. So they take their outside linebacker or weak safety, whatever you want to call him, and they split him way out. And therefore, if the line gets blocked, that's where Wilbert ended up running, was right where the safety had moved out to the outside because they're wary of Ginnivan.
1st and 10 Raiders now from their own 41-yard line. Brown out of the gun, running back to his right. That's Clothier. Option right side gets Clothier, gets a block, cuts inside that block, and he's brought to the 46-yard line after a gain of 5.
Yeah, Roseboro comes back and makes a nice block as he
goes down near the 46.
And Topeka Hayden brought the blitz up the middle, brought the linebacker Peevler, but he missed the hole ball carrier was going through, so now there's one less defender by offensive line to give Wilbert just enough crease to sneak through and pick up the first down.
So from the Wildcat.
And with that jet sweep, it really affects those linebackers with that jet sweep action. They tend to already cheat that way towards that jet sweep. He's able to keep it, take it more up the middle. So I think that one is probably called, not red, so another good call by Coach Smith.
2nd and 3 Raiders. Football.
You got to protect the football, and it just about jumped up and bit them. But Wilbert able to recover his own fumble. The Raiders have 1st and goal from the 5.
Wilbert goes wide to the left. Ishmael wide right. Again, double tights. Brown out of the gun. Clothier, the blocking back to his right. Oh, low snap. Brown comes up with it, and he's forced to scramble. He's going to make something out of it. He goes in for the score. Beautiful scramble on a low snap, and Brown scores from 5.
Yeah, great job. Didn't panic when the ball was on the ground. And then Clothier and Roseboro on the outside get great blocks, and he makes a tremendous cut. And I tell you, the running game affecting Topeka Hayden right now. They're already gone to a 6-man front, come out of their 4-4. 6-man front doesn't matter for the Raiders. They're still able to get it in on the ground.
And the extra point attempt coming up, Wilbur to hold. And the kick is up, and it is good. Boy, oh boy, Hanukkah split. The defenders was right there. I don't know how it got by him, but Harris drilled it. We got 5:45 left first quarter. Frontenac 7, Hayden nothing. We'll be 30 seconds. You're listening to Frontenac Football on 103.5 FM.
At Lindbergh Pharmacy, we care about your health. From a qualified and caring staff to services like our Time My Meds and MedPack programs. You can also sign.
So he went basically to the fullback with the 2 wings that time and the 1 wideout, which is what they do most of the time. Hanukkah splits out to the right side. Again, 2 wing backs and the fullback behind. And there's simple dive to the fullback, and trying to see they're getting some different faces in there. And that time that was Van Beesler who tried the middle and maybe able to pick 3.
Yeah, I think that was Clothier and Harris. An interesting play call on 2nd and long. This is a team that normally throws the ball just as much as they run the football. So far, they've only attempted 1 pass in the first 2 drives. 3rd and long now, you would think this would definitely be a passing situation. Interesting to note, the Raiders have had Ishimura following Hanukkah all over the field.
3rd and 9, Wildcats from their own 28-yard line. Now, what do we got? Delay against the Wildcats. Now they'll push them back to their own 23-yard line where they'll face a 3rd and 13.
Well, and that seemed like an awful quick clock. I did notice after first downs, this crew is getting the chains marked awfully fast, putting this thing back into play quickly.
Van Beesler splits out to the right, going out there. Well, a couple wideouts that way. Hanukkah to the left. 1 other wideout joining him. Motion right to left. They fake the end up. There's a shovel pass, nothing doing. And it did the.
It came out, they're calling it an incomplete pass.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah. What a read by Clothier, though, from the linebacker spot. He saw this thing all the way, and he was hitting the intended receiver, the wing. He was hitting him right when the ball came. Just a tremendous read by Clothier, because it looked like first jet sweep and then maybe go deep, but tremendous read by the young linebacker.
Wilbert back to receive the punt. Good snap, some pressure. Going end over end, coming near side. Now, if Wilbert can pick it up, he could save some yards here as they're not much covered. He does take it, brings it near side, and he's able to get it out across the 40. A nice effort there to gain some yards, not let it roll. Now some talking already going on.
Well, Riley McDaniel just dumped Matt Mativi. Interesting name for those of us that have been around Frontenac a long time, but yeah, he dumped him, and Mativi didn't particularly care for it. Had a couple words there after the play.
So 1st and 10, Raiders will start from their own 42-yard line. Wilbert comes to the sideline for a breather. Wide left goes Ginnivan. Joined out there by Ishimura. Tight to the right is Roseboro. Brown out of the gun. Clothier blocking back to the left, and Alex Johnson in there at the tailback slot behind Brown. Now it goes in motion, right to left. There's the give. That's Clothier. Boy, this time he's hemmed in and brought down. Maybe got a yard. As good effort there in the middle by Andrew Schmidtline.
Yeah, he did a good job getting off the block and was able to get into Clothier before he could really get started and limited that to just a short gain.
2nd and 9 Raiders from their own 43-yard line. 3:44 clock moving first quarter. Frontenac the 7-0 lead. Shamir comes wide right. Double tights. Brown out of the gun. Clothier to his right. Johnson behind him. There's a give to Johnson. Yeah, he's got some room, and he's dragging tacklers out near the 48, maybe the 49-yard line.
Well, we were one good block away from a big play. The tackle and guard on the right side, that's Toll and Strand did a great job of crushing everything down. The end on this side, though, wasn't able to keep his man to the outside and create that crease, or he'd have had a much bigger play.
So a 3rd and 3 Raiders from their own 49-yard line. Ginnivan goes wide left. Wilbur joins him in slot left. Ishamir wide to the right side. Out of the gun motion, left to right, Wilbur. Fakes the handoff, pumps once, scrambling, going long, puts it up for grabs. Oh, no, Ishamir tried to make an adjustment, went through his hands, and then it hit the defensive back. It was behind him. Actually, a good effort by Ishamir, but he couldn't make the connection.
Yeah, good coverage and a little bit of pressure on Brown this time, and possibly could have ran it. I'm not sure he would have got the first down if he'd have tried it. And then he kind of underthrew the ball to Ishamir. He did a good job of making an adjustment. And boy, they are scrambling to get their return team.
That was a good punting situation. Good snap, Harris. Plenty of time. High, spiral, nice kick. Hand it back to get it. Fakes the fair catch, and it's rolling down inside the 5. And it's going to be dead about the 2-yard line.
Well, and I tell you, the end result is tremendous. The best part about this kick was the hang time, though, because Hanukkah is extremely dangerous in the kick return game. He only returns punts, doesn't return kickoffs. But that punt return game, if you give him some open space, it could be trouble. But this one, nice and high, and then, it just dies down at about, the 3-yard line.
It's at the 3-yard line. So 1st and 10 for the Wildcats from their own 3-yard line. With 2:37 left, first quarter, Frontenac the 7-0 lead. Hanukkah comes wide to the left. Again, the 2 wings with the single running back, motion right to left out of the wing spot. And there is Houston gives a dive to the left side. Not much doing, stopped at the 5 after a gain of a couple, and I believe that was Van Beesler again.
Trey Harris having a heck of a first quarter at the D-line right now. He's making all kinds of plays. Helped out, I think that was Loy that came in at the end. Now, interesting there, they ran the running back in motion to the outside. Raiders really didn't go with him. I'm sure that's something the coaches from Hayden will see and look for that again, and maybe look for a pass out on because they really had 2 against 1 on the outside.
2nd and 8, Wildcats from their own 5-yard line. Hanukkah wide to the right. Now rolling right, and Houston looking to throw, pressured. Oh, he puts it up, and it is caught. And out of bounds near the 15, so a first down. Boy, some pressure, but he had enough time to be able to find Hanukkah.
Yeah, it was late pressure, and Ishamir's got the coverage. And, one thing about it, you do not want to get burned deep and give up the big play. So he stayed off just enough, ran kind of a curl route, had him open, good throw and catch. But if I'm the Raider defense, I'll give that one up from time to time because you sure don't want to give up a big play.
1st and 10, Hayden from its own 15-yard line. Hanukkah wide to the right this time. Houston, and there's a give. Right side, and stopped at the 20. And let's see, was that Purnell on the right side?
I believe it was.
Pick up close to 4 yards.
Rob, I've got some scores real quickly. Colgan up 7-0 on Olpe. 4A Division I game of interest. DeSoto and Bishop Miege are tied at 7. And then 4A Division II on the other side, Holcomb 7, Scott City 6.
So 2nd and 6. Wildcats from their own 19-yard line. Hanukkah wide left. Houston under the center. They try the left side, and then it's Purnell, and he dances his way out near the 23, maybe the 24-yard line. It's going to be 3rd and short.
And Ginnivan does a good job on this, though. Came up the field with outside leverage and really almost took on both blockers. At that point, the linebackers got to get in there and make that play. So, but a good job by Ginnivan to almost basically take up 2 blockers and turn him in.
3rd and a yard, Wildcats from their own 24-yard line. And drives the right side, and I don't think he got it.
He's short.
No, he is shy. Didn't gain much at all, just out across the 24, maybe a yard, and that was about it, if that.
They might actually, they're talking about over there possibly going for this. Now, I would certainly watch, a long count, possibly try to draw the Raiders off sides right here, but certainly the offense is on the field.
You got to hold your water, as they say. 4th and 1. Wildcats from their own 24-yard line. Jeez, just what they said.
I have a feeling that was the plan all along. I'm not sure they would have actually ran a play and was able to, and I think that's the first time all year the Raiders have been in that situation and actually jumped offside. So the Raiders give a cheap first down, and I believe, no, that's the second first down now on this drive for Hayden.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Wildcats from their own 29. First down via the penalty route. Houston under the center, looking to throw, looks right, now looking back left, forces scramble, some pressure, puts it up for grabs, and McDaniel's turned around, he makes the catch, and it's a foot race, and going in for the touchdown is Matthew Moore.
Yeah, and this is an improvised play because this was supposed to be a quicker throw. No one opened initially, and the receiver does a good job of heading up the sideline. McDaniel let him get a little bit behind him. It looked like he had caught up with the throw and then just misplayed the ball. Give the receiver credit for making the catch, but McDaniel just misplayed it.
So the extra point attempt coming up to try and tie this one up. And to attempt is Mativi. Good snap, placement down. Boy, that's, well, it came up short. 12 seconds left here in the first quarter. Frontenac a 7-6 lead. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Rob Strand back with Randy Southard. 12 seconds left first quarter. Frontenac a 7-6 lead. A 71-yard touchdown pass from Samson Houston to Matthew Moore, but the extra point attempt no good. So the Raiders cling to a 1-point lead.
Yeah, the holder fumbled the snap a little bit, and everything just thrown off, so mishit on the kick.
And to kick off, Hayden Federico, left footer, end over end, coming near side of Shamira. Boy, he runs out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
Yeah, directional kick on purpose short. He came over to make the catch and then just kind of stepped out of bounds when he finally caught up with the football. So, you know, in a way, he's in a tough spot, though, because you could argue let it go and see if it'll go out of bounds, but the kick was so high, he did have some coverage men coming down. But I guess give credit for the kick. Well-placed kick, and the Raiders will start backed up.
So 12 seconds left in the first quarter. Frontenac, the 7-6 lead. Raiders will start 1st and 10 from their own 10-yard line. And as Wilbert goes wide left, Ishamir wide to the right, Brown out of the gun. Clothier, the running back, give the Clothier up the middle. A couple of tough yards out near the 12.
Yeah, good initial hole. Then that was Peebler, linebacker spot. Maybe starting to figure things out a little bit.
That'll do it for the first quarter. Frontenac a 7-6 lead. We'll be back in 30 seconds. You're listening to Frontenac Football on 103.5 FM.
Save where you shop with Lobet Bank's Bazing checking account. Use the Bazing app to find over 300,000 national and local discounts. Bazing also offers industry protection. And ask us about
Rob Strand back with Randy Southard. We head to the second quarter. Frontenac 7-6 lead. The Raiders will face a 2nd and 8 from their own 12-yard line. And good first quarter for the Raiders, right at the tail end there, where Wildcats able to put something together. Is a good job by the quarterback, Samson Houston, to scramble. He did buy some time and was able to find the defender or the receiver that had lost the defender, and big touchdown, and of course missed the extra points. So the Raiders still with the lead.
Yeah, and you know, it's almost turnabout's fair play, as we've seen the Raiders several times this year be able to improvise and make a big play out of it, and that's what Topeka Hayden did to the Raiders this time.
So for a 2nd and 8 Raiders from their own 12-yard line. Well, again, a nice crowd, both sides, and lined the chain link fence in the end zone, and saw a good first quarter. Wide right, Ishamir. Wide left, Ginnivan. Slot left is Wilbert. Brown out of the gun. Now in motion, left to right goes Wilbert, fakes the handoff. Brown's going to keep it. Boy, not much there. He tried to lower his shoulder and got stacked up for no gain.
Yeah, just a minor adjustment with their linebackers for Topeka Hayden is they were getting caught up in the wash, in the Raiders' first drive where they were able to run the ball almost in the entire drive, able to run the ball down the field. Linebackers were able to get to these backs now, making the runs a lot shorter.
So a 3rd and 7 Raiders from their own 13-yard line. Shamir wide right. Now timeout taken as Mark Smith didn't like what he saw. So 11:27 left here in the first half. Frontenac a 7-6 lead. Timeout Raiders, and I think we'll just keep it here on this sub-state contest. And
well, I think the adjustment on defense for Hayden is they've kind of come out of the 4-4 look, and it's more of a 4-3 look where they've got 3 linebackers on the inside, so they're putting an extra person in the box, bringing one of those outside linebackers / safeties, bringing them in more tight, and that's just cutting off a couple of the running lanes that the Raiders had early. That should, though, open up the pass game a little bit more. So, 3rd down and long, it's kind of the obvious passing situation, but expect the Raiders to start going to the air a little bit if Hayden's going to continue to line up defensively that way.
Yeah. Raiders have thrown 1 pass in that first quarter. That's rare. And like you said, they actually haven't had to. They were controlling the clock, keeping the ball on the ground, got the lead. And
yeah, that's more ideal. We'd rather be able to run it, but the Raiders obviously can throw it too.
3rd and 7 Raiders from their own 13. Schmier wide right, Ginvin wide left, slot left is Wilbert. Looking to throw. Pumping once, Brown. Going on way overthrown and pen for Ishimura.
Well, Ishimura kind of broke off of his route. It was kind of a slant and go type of a look, and Ishimura kind of stopped, hesitated for a second as he was not getting over the top of the defender, and Brown pretty much was going that way all the time. 2 receivers on the left side of the formation at that time. Hayden had 2 defenders out there, and the free safety rolled over the top, watching out for Ginnivan. So that's the right look, is one-on-one the outside. Really just kind of slowed.
And punt, end over end, short. Going to take a Raider roll. He got it covered. Haneke comes up and takes it. And then he is hit at the 43-yard line. Wise for Haneke, because that was taking a Raider roll. Would have been near midfield, and he gained a couple yards, got the Wildcats good field position. 1st and 10 from the Raiders' 43-yard line.
Yeah, and those are the plays that scare me a lot in this game because, as good as the Raiders' kickoff coverage team has been this year, their punt coverage has been a little bit suspect. So, all that time in the air and all on the ground, and really there was only 2 Raiders down there. Now, they're able to get him on the ground, but, boy, you just got to keep the ball away from him.
Haneke is wide to the right. Good slot, wing to the left. Used to dive left side, going to keep it now, and he is hemmed in thin. Pitches it late to Purnell, and well defended. He's stopped at the 42. I'll tell you, throw that flag. He hit him well out of bounds. As Ishimura took a shot from one of the Wildcats about 5 yards off the field to play, and they finally threw a flag. Now they're acting like it's his reaction they're going to flag. Saw this in the film with Burlington numerous times. They let it slide.
Well,
and it looks like your reaction is what's going to.
There's been some jawing going on out there. That was even going on before the game as the players were coming in and out of from the field to the locker room and vice versa. Some jawing going on. So we'll see what the call is, as the officials are talking about this for an awful long time.
Well, the tackle was well behind. It was a yard gain. Or actually no gain back at the 43, and this was on about 10 yards on down along the sideline there. I don't know, maybe if they go offsetting or what, but no.
I'm not sure, but either way, you've
got
somebody
to the sideline. What's going on here? Not this again.
You have got to keep your cool no matter what happens. And right now, Coach Smith not happy with the 2 players that were halfway involved. Now they're going to go back out on the field just to talking to, saying, "Hey,
they're going to offset.
You've got to keep your cool out there."
Easy way out. That was, I think, a case where we get hit out of bounds, and then the reaction, and that's the easy way out for them. And
well, either way, the down should count, and the play itself was very well defended. Assignment football. You had Hayden Pyle in at defensive end, took the dive back. You had the quarterback taken by the safety Cooper Loy, and the corner came up along with Wilbert take the pitch from these free safety spots. So well-defended option play by the Raider defense.
So actually no gain. Well, no. First they'd move that.
They're going to give them a yard.
Stats. I mean, it's going to be 2nd and 9. Let's put it that way. Motion right to left. Purnell rolling right, looking to throw. The quarterback, no pressure, puts it over the middle, and it is caught. And Ishimura drags him. It's down to the goal line. Touchdown! Boy, oh boy, Hanukkah drug him into the end zone. A nice pitch and catch. And a 42-yard score.
You know, it's decent coverage out there by Ishimura, but this is where the height advantage. He threw it nice and high, and I mentioned before the game, their receivers do an excellent job of attacking the football in the air. That's exactly what Hanukkah did. He goes up, grabs it, and then, Ishimura did his best to get him on the ground. I think he was on top of him, and that's what allowed him to roll into the end zone.
So 10:57 left here in the first half. 12-7 lead for the Wildcats, and they'll obviously go 4-2. Hanukkah wide right. When the slot to the left side is Matthew Moore, now in motion left to right. Quarterback rolling right, looking to throw, quick out, and it is caught. 2-point conversion, pass complete to Matthew Moore. 10:57 left first half. Hayden leads Frontenac 14-7. We'll be back in 30 seconds. You're listening to Frontenac Football on 103.5 FM.
After 3 decades in business, Bittner Motors of Pittsburgh remains a local favorite. If you're in the market for a quality pre-owned vehicle, Pittsburgh.
Rob Strandback with Randy Southard. 10:57 left first half. Hayden leads Frontenac 14-7. Kind of similar to Holton. Got out by the touchdown lead. Holton responded with a couple of scores, and the Raiders took over. Now Raiders out the touchdown lead, and Hayden a couple of scores, and we'll see how they respond.
Yeah, and I tell you, that last touchdown is a great play design because it's you roll out to the right, and you've got a man kind of going deep towards the middle on the right side of the field to occupy the free safety, and then you got the post on the backside, so then it's going to be one-on-one because the free safety's not going to be there. So, that's the way they're designing things to get their big player on the outside one-on-one coverage.
Skylar Specht to kick off, teed it up at the 40-yard line. No, it's a short kick. Come up and get it, and Kate Chastain and takes a knee at the 36-yard line.
And there's a flag
probably
on the far
offside
side.
Where you're gonna.
Yeah, and I think they blew this dead, so they're going to have to take the penalty.
Yep, a little over anxious. They had a little, I don't know if that was a straight-on onside kick or not, but he kind of squibbed it, and Chastain did well, come up, took a knee, and apparently trying to cover. They were offside. So the kickoff now from the 35, and Specht will do it once again. Back to receive the kick is Ishimura along with Strand back there. So you do the same thing. I don't know. I don't know if he's a short kicker or what.
Yeah, they have a couple of different guys that kick, and usually they've got a player that's left-footed, and he's usually more the deep kick. When they go with the kicker that's more right-footed, they have a tendency to kick it either a squib kick like that or intentionally, a pooch kick, trying to kick it short.
So Specht, the right footer. Hands team up front. The approach from 35, line drive down the middle, let it go out of bounds. If it goes out of bounds, it's not going to. Now receive it is Ishimura once again, and boy.
Oh, he's got it.
Got a block. Get a block, turn around. And he's nice return. He was pinned along the sideline, was looking for a block, and got it out to the 38, so they actually gained a couple of yards. It didn't look good, though.
No, not at first, but he got a good block by Hayden Pyle to seal his man to the inside, gave Ishimura the outside, and then it was kind of one-on-one, just kind of didn't really make a move on him, but still, what could have been disaster turned into pretty decent field position.
So Raiders will start 1st and 10 from their own 38-yard line with 10:49 remaining here in the first half. Ishimura goes wide right, Gidevan out to the left. Slot left is Wilbert. Slot right is Clothier. Out of the gun, Brown motion, left to right, Wilbert. Gives it to Wilbert. Boy, he's got he's tried to cut back. He had a nice hole there. They'd opened it up, and he slid down and maybe got a foot.
Yeah, the cut that he was going to make, he was going to pick up Kaufman coming over from the offensive line, and he was going to get one more block, and he might have had something going on, but slipped on the with the footing on the field. Now, I walked out on the field, perfect condition, just happened to slip.
2nd and 9, Raiders. Shy of their own 39-yard line. Brown out of the gun, blocking backs to both sides. They give it to Wilbert. Boy, not much there. He spins and able to get out to about the line of scrimmage, but not much going.
Yeah, and they've started to figure out the Raider running game right now. Is getting some penetration in the backfield that time up front.
So 3rd and 10 Raiders from their own 38-yard line. Clock moving, 9:55, first half, 14-7. Hayden the lead. Peterman wide right, Wilbert slot right, Ishamir wide left. Out of the gun, Brown blocking back to his left is Clothier. Good snap, quick hitch, right side. It's complete. Wilbert turns it up, and he's got the first down into Hayden territory down to the 46-yard line.
Yeah, and that's a little different look for the Raiders. It appears as if they're going to do the all goes, which they do all the time, all 4 receivers going deep. This time he just kind of slowed up. Now, Hayden, when they take their drops, they do tend to drop deep, which is where I thought Brown might be able to scramble some on pass plays. And this time when they're dropping, he just finds a soft spot, makes the catch, turns it up, picks up the first down.
Raiders 1st and 10, Wildcats 46-yard line. Alex Johnson slot right, motion right to left, has the football. You got to cut it up, and he strung it out. I think you were in that area where you had to make a choice quicker to just cut it up and able to get a yard. But boy, that was a tough one. Looked like he had something going there and just couldn't get the corner turned.
Yeah, and they had blocks except for Peevler. They ended up not getting anybody on Peevler, and he was able to chase it down. Now, kind of looking at him, he's hobbling a little bit. I think adrenaline helping him out on some of these plays, but. Yeah, just not quite able to turn the corner.
2nd and 9, Raiders from the Wildcats, 45, quick hitch, right side. Yeah, it's complete. And that is Alex Johnson close to the first down down near the Wildcats' 36-yard line.
Yeah, and they'll do that. They'll tend to give you those short throws for a while, and then they'll start sneaking up. So a good job there, play calling, setting up a 3rd and short.
And 4-down territory, 3rd and 1 for the Raiders from the Wildcats. Just inside the 37-yard line with the clock moving down to 8:20 left in the half. Hayden the 14-7 lead. Ishamir wide to the right. Tight to left, Roseboro. Motion right to left. Now Ginnivan resets in the left wing, and there is the give. And with room, that is Wilbert. He bowls over, loses the football, and he's able to fall on it at the 24-yard line. You have to handle the football. That's the second time it's been on the turf after a gain, and boy, you got to hang on to it.
Well, I tell you, though, left side of the line, that's Kaufman and Harris, though. Excellent job blocking. Had a huge hole to run through and was really one-on-one with the corner and got a little loose with the ball as he was trying to make the move. Lucky to get back on it.
1st and 10. Raiders. Wildcats 24-yard line. Motion left, right. Ginnivan leading Wilbert. Split some tacklers, and he dives down near the 16-yard line.
Yeah, much better blocking the last 3 plays up front by the Raiders. No penetration and giving some creases. And I think doing a little talking there to an official about maybe a little late hit or something on the ground. Or I don't know. Wilbert had something to say to the back judge after that play. 2nd
and 2, Raiders. Football resting at the Wildcats' 16-yard line. Brown out of the gun. Blocking back to his left. Motion right to left, Wilbert, give to Wilbert. Cuts inside a block, he's inside the 10. Tripped up and brought down near the 6-yard line.
Going a good cut. Had everything blocked to the outside. Good block by the fullback. Nice cut. And Clothier, yes. And a touchdown saving tackle by the safety. And Wilbert now, he's going to come out as he's touched the ball about 4 or 5 times in a row.
1st and goal, Raiders from the Wildcats' 6-yard line. Out of the gun. There's a give, dive up the middle. That's Alex Johnson. He lost the football.
Oh, and I have a feeling Topeka Hayden's got this one.
Some of them trying to say he's down. Now there's pushing and shoving, and you're going to have to make the call and get him out of there.
Yes, Topeka Hayden has the ball. So the third time the Raiders put the ball on the ground, the first two they were able to get back on it. This time it popped out and jumped. The ball moved about 3 or 4 yards forward. Well, that's right towards the defense. Topeka Hayden gets the turnover and stymies the drive. Boy, and the Raiders had something going.
So the Wildcats will start 1st and 10 from their own 4-yard line. You know, we talked the early season struggles. You know, you were talking 4 turnovers per game and losses to Galena and Colgan, and throw in a block punt in that Colgan game, and you can't fight that uphill battle. And they've dodged the bullet until this point. Now the defense is going to have to be holding. There's Purnell trying the left side. And boy, well defended. You got maybe a yard out to the 5.
Yeah, good job. And that counter trade, it takes a long time. And if you can get up the field at all, it just slows everything down. And that allows all the pursuit to come over and make a play. So the Raiders so far have defended that play quite well. Topeka Hayden will continue to run it. It's kind of their bread and butter running play. So expect to hear that play called several times.
2nd and 9. Wildcats from their own 5-yard line. Hannock splits wide left. Houston under the center, 3 backs. There's a give, the right side. This time they got some, nice undercut. And boy, it looked like Wilbert came and cut the legs out from under Matthew Moore. He went flying. Nice gain out to about the 11, but boy, he's getting up a little slowly.
Yeah, and same play. And this time they get it blocked pretty well, and he had an opening. So I said they'll keep running it, and there they did. And again, more players having chats with officials, so hard telling what's going on down on that field, and maybe quite a bit of jawing going on.
So a 3rd and 2 Wildcats from their own 12-yard line. Danica wide left. Again, quarterback Houston under the center with the running backs. Van Beesler, the fullback. Well, they're going to throw. Quick hitch left side, and it is caught and dragged down near the 16-yard line. Boy, that was almost like it was overthrown. Of course, I threw it into the wind going that way, and they kind of knocked it down, and coming up with it was Hanukkah.
Well, Hanukkah, very tall receiver. They have him listed at 6'6". So you can throw it up there, and like I said earlier, he does a good job of going up and get it. And that time he climbed the ladder a bit and picked up the first down.
1st and 10, Wildcats now at their own 17-yard line with 5 minutes left here in the first quarter. And Hayden, the 14-7, the ball on the ground. It's still loose, and the Raiders say they got it.
Oh, the Raiders, they have the ball. They just tossed it to an official. So Loy ended up with it.
So turnabout's fair play, and the Wildcats cough it up.
Except this one's a non-contact fumble. Just never secured the ball as he took it from the quarterback. It popped out, and he dove for it, unable to get to it. Loy dives after it, and he's able to corral it. So, boy, a big play for the Raider defense as they get the ball right back, and they're in business.
4:56 left first half. Hayden, a 14-7 lead. Frontenac with a 1st and 10. And they'll start at the Wildcats' 14-yard line. Wide right goes Ishimura. Tight left is Roseboro. Brown out of the gun. Wilbur behind him. 2 running backs, Clothier, along with Ginnivan back there. Now Ginnivan goes from the right side, sets to the left wing, and Wilbert resets the right side. There's the give to Wilbert. Cuts inside a block. Still on his feet down to the 5. Hang on to the football. Touchdown, Raiders.
Boy, excellent blocking this time. Left side of the line, crashes everything down. Roseboro this time keeps his man to the outside, creates that crease. You've got Ginnivan lead blocking. You've got Clothier lead blocking. A beautiful hole to run through, and then he breaks the tackle of the safety, steps into the end zone. The Raiders are an extra point away from tying this one up.
So Wilbert to hold. Harris to kick with 4:50 left in the first half. And 14-13. Good snap placement down. Kick is up, and it's plenty long enough. It is good. 4:50 left first half, even at 14. We'll be back in 30 seconds. You're listening to Frontenac Football on 103.5 FM.
The true test of a great insurance agency comes when you suffer a loss. It's easy to take your premiums, but Ray Ryan of Ryan Insurance of Pittsburgh knows that handling your claim is the most important service insured. Right.
Rob Strandbeck with Randy Southard. 4:50 remaining first half, tied at 14s, and Frontenac to kick off Trey Harris tees up at the 40-yard line, back to receive the kick for the Hayden Wildcats. Drops Desmond Purnell, and he'll be flanked by Rory Anand. And also back there is Trey Miller. Big crowd getting into it now as we're even things at 14. Both teams have had a lead, and now we're tied.
I tell you, Rob, this might be the biggest crowd I've ever seen at the sports complex. The stands are basically completely full.
And Harris approaches high and overhand, and that's going to get in the end zone, a touchback, and the Wildcats going to be forced to start from their own 20-yard line.
Yeah, he kicked that ball 7-8 yards deep. A no-doubter as he got his foot into that one. So you mentioned earlier kind of maybe taking the same shape as last week, and sure enough, the Raiders do cough it up, but last week got the fumble, cashed that in, in the second quarter last week against Holton. This time, the Raiders force a turnover, cash it in to tie this thing up.
And you got to believe 4:50 left in the first half, unit 14, they're going to be possibly looking to throw a little more often than they have been because, say, they've struggled against the run or against the Raider defense trying to run the football. Yeah, looking to throw. Pumps once, and he goes long, and it's Hanukkah, and it is intercepted at the 40-yard line. That is Ishamira, another turnover.
Well, and he probably gets away with the hands being on the receiver just a little bit because it's an out and up, and he bit on the out. He was beat initially, kind of put his hands on the receiver to slow him down a little bit. The ball underthrown slightly, but give him credit for turning his head around and finding the football, and then is able to make a play on the ball. So another turnover, putting the Raiders in an excellent field position, plenty of time on the clock. See if they can cash this one in too and take the lead back.
1st and 10, Raiders will start from the Wildcats' 40-yard line. Wide left, Ginnivan, joined out there by Wilbert and Ishamira. Trips left side. Brown out of the gun, rolling left, looking to throw. Puts it up, got a man, it is.
Oh, he caught it.
What a catch down at the 35 as the defender was right there. That was Trey Miller. And how he held on to it, I don't know, but it was a gain of about 6 yards.
Yeah, I don't either because, the route combination could not have been right because Ginnivan had stopped his route on the outside, and Nishamura is running the out pattern, so he was throwing right into the defender that was guarding Ginnivan. They got there at the same time. He took a big hit. Great job holding on to that ball.
And tended to along the sideline is Ishamira. Kate Chastain now wide to the right in place of Ishamira, option left side. And Brown's going to lower his shoulder, keep it for about 3 yards. Left side just shy of the 30.
Yeah, and I don't mind that keep at all, even if it's a short gain. Running the option to the short side of the field, there's not a lot of room for that pitch. So I always like it when you do option short side. Let that quarterback keep it. He picks up 3, setting up the 3rd and 1. Very manageable for the Raider offense.
From the Wildcats' 31-yard line with 3:40 remaining first half, tied at 14. Of course, 4-down territory. Chastain wide left. Brown out of the gun. Get him into the right side. Now they reset. Wings to both sides. There's the give once again. That's Wilbert, and he's got the first down and more once again, trying to strip him. Still battling his way, and he's down near about the 23-yard line.
Well, exact same play that he scored the last touchdown on. They start with the full backfield. You motion the man out. You reset, and then you run basically a sweep to that side. You've got all kinds of lead blockers. Another big crease. Kaufman on the guard. Harris at the tackle doing a great job blocking. And picks up the first down with ease.
1st and 10 Raiders from the 23 of the Wildcats. Chastain wide right. Johnson slot left. Ginnivan wide left. Out of the gun. Brown. Clothier is blocking back to the right side. Good snap. Option right side. He's going to keep the football. Cuts inside the 15, 10. Runs into his own teammate, and he's inside the 5 down near the 4-yard line.
Yeah, great decision. Does an excellent job of keeping the football and taking it, makes the cut. And, yeah, you're right. He ran into his own blocker. He would have strolled in because he juked out the free safety and got tackled by his own guy. Thankfully, he held on to the football, but the Raiders now set up 1st and goal from the 4.
Chastain wide right. Roseboro tight right. Ginnivan tight left. Clothier, slot right side. Wilbert, the running back, the tailback, gives it right side. And he's in for the score.
And let me tell you, this offensive line in this first half, this time it's the right side. So you got Toll and Strand over on the right side. Excellent job. Big hole when the tight end is getting his block to the outside, keeping his man to the outside. It is setting up a natural crease and Wilbert's been able to run right through it. Both sides of the offensive line doing a tremendous job here in the first half.
And the extra point attempt coming up. Wilbert to hold. Good snap. Gets the placement down. Kicked plenty long enough. Harris is on, and he drills it. 2:57 left first half. Frontenac 21. Hayden 14. We'll be back in 30 seconds. You're listening to Frontenac Football on 103.5 FM.
Grilling season's year-round in these parts. You can almost hear the sizzle of a juicy steak. Don't forget to check your propane levels, and if you're low, it's
Rob Strand back with Randy Southern. 2:57 left first half. Frontenac 21-14 lead over Hayden. Raiders to kick. Trey Harris tees it to the 40. Put one in the end zone the last time for no return, and the Wildcats had it at the 20. We'll see. Obviously, ideally would do that again this time. Has Purnell back there. Again, flanked by Rory Anand and Trey Miller. Miller's got that big cast on his left hand, too. I mean, he's been playing, but I'm guessing you're talking that soft cast because
by the way, Rob, Ishimura shaking up on that last offensive possession. Just got stretched out on the sideline. He's up walking around. Looks like he's going to be good to go on defense here.
And Harris approaches high, end over end, and it's going to be returnable. Offside. Oh, no.
Well, I tell you, they called it on Topeka Hayden earlier, so they're watching that obviously very closely tonight. So now the Raiders will have to kick again.
And this time from the 35, so that one was right about to the goal line. It looked like Purnell was going to be able to pick it up about the one and was going to try and return it, but
and you can tell on these kick returns that Andrew Mays has been the man on this kickoff team all year long. They have done their best to try to block him. He's still made a couple plays, but you can tell that Topeka Hayden's made a definite effort to get him blocked on the kickoff team.
So here we go. We'll do it again from the 35. Trey Harris. Again, Purnell back there, flanked by Anand and Miller. Again, the cross breeze. And the approach. It's on the low line drive, and that sails into the end zone, so another touchback. So the Wildcats will start from the 20.
Yeah, great kick, just a driving line drive, excellent kick. And Rob Quick's at the half. Colgan and Olpe, Colgan 7, Olpe 6. So in a tight one over in Pittsburgh tonight.
Defensive struggle. So Olpe had won one of the district or playoff game 7-0. So let's hang their hat on that defense, and got a good one going at Hutchfield and Pittsburgh. We've got a good one going here at the Raiders Sports Complex. 1st and 10, Hayden Wildcats from the 20. They give dive left side, and this time with some room is Van Beesler, and boy, he is stumbling out across the 35, maybe the 36-yard line.
Yeah, first time it's just a straight drive where they were able to get a crease, and he gets to the second level. Wilbur trips him up enough to get him on the ground, but that's really the first time that dive is produced anything for him.
1st and 10, Wildcats from their own 36-yard line this time. With the snap, trying the right side this time, and again with some room and breaking free and into the clear. And it's a foot race, as that is Matthew Moore, and he's dragged down at the Raiders' 25-yard line.
Yeah, it's that counter tray, and they've not had any success going to the left side, but they've been able to break it open a couple of times now, coming to the right side. So an adjustment on that side of the defense is going to have to be made, or they're just going to keep running that play over and over again.
So 1st and 10, Wildcats now at the Raiders' 24-yard line. 2:32 left here in the first half in Frontenac, the 21-14 lead. And they go wide to the left. Then the running back Van Beesler behind the quarterback. Houston under center. And a little stumble. He's rolling left, pressure, and puts it up, and it is underthrown and incomplete. And good pressure there by Ishimura on the quarterback.
Yeah, he had time initially and really kind of held on to it. He was looking for the big play in the end zone, which was not there. It was well covered. I think that was Ishimura that had coverage in the end zone, was right all over his man. Had a receiver cutting across the field who had a little bit of space, but the ball was thrown behind him and fell harmlessly incomplete.
2nd and 10. Wildcats from the Raiders. 24-yard line. Couple wideouts left side. They dive left side. Boy, this time they stack them up. Mays was in
Harris.
there, and Harris was in there as they stopped Van Beesler for a little. Boy, he's chatting every time after he comes out of there is Van Beesler.
There's a little bit of jawing, I think, just about every play. I'm surprised the officials haven't done more of an effort to put a stop to it, quite honestly.
3rd and 8. Wildcats from the Raiders' 22-yard line, excuse me.
Now, obviously, this would be 4-down territory, and it looks like Topeka Hayden's going to take a timeout and talk this one over on the 3rd and long. But you got to figure they're figuring they have 2 downs to pick up the first down.
So timeout called. 3rd and 8 for the Wildcats from the Raiders' 22-yard line. We'll go ahead and keep it here with 1:47 left in the first half, and Frontenac that 21-14 lead. This all of a sudden becomes a big drive here.
Absolutely. But what a first half we've had, just back and forth. 2 good football teams really duking it out there. A very physical football game, and, one team throws a punch, the other one kind of absorbs it, comes back with their own back and forth football game. And, if the Raiders can hold them out of the end zone here, just 1:47 on the clock, and take the lead into halftime, then the Raiders get the ball to start the second half.
Right. So, and again, the other games, Colgan and Opie playing at Hutchfield and Pittsburgh, and what you said, Colgan 7-6 the lead there, and we had St. Paul hosting Burlingame, and one time that was a close one. I haven't seen any update on that.
Let me check that for you, Rob. In the 3rd quarter, Burlingame 26, St. Paul 20. Another game that I've been keeping an eye on was DeSoto and Bishop Miege. DeSoto had an early lead in that game. Bishop Miege has come back with a fury, and they're now up 35-17.
So 3rd and 8 for the Wildcats. Football resting at the Raiders' 22-yard line. Got trips to the right side. Now motion coming to the right side, picking up a block. Motion. I think he was going forward on that, actually. They throw it to the left side to Moore. Nice open field tackle out there. Well, I think that was Riley McDaniels. They were able to get more, but I think they had a man reset in the slot to the right side, and I think he was still moving or going toward the line of scrimmage.
Very disciplined by Riley McDaniel, because everything's going to the right, and this is the old-fashioned throwback. So you've got the receiver going to the backside late, and McDaniel does a good job of staying disciplined, seeing him coming and making the play. Now, it's an interesting decision. Now, you've got Coach Plumbo on the side, saying push him back, and I think that's the right call, because it would be 4th down and fairly short. So why not push him back, and you're still giving them 2 downs. At the same time, though.
Yeah, you're going about 3rd and 13 or 4th and 5. So ball resting about the 18-yard line. Boy, I don't know. What's happening?
It's a tough call.
Okay. Motion.
They're going to accept it.
Okay, but you got to mark it off.
Well, I think the officials were just waiting.
Oh, okay.
We're waiting to see what Coach Smith wanted to do,
I see.
And now, gee, imagine that we have an opposing coach out on the field wanting to talk to the White Hat.
Boy, you didn't see that at Holton last week.
No, not at all.
1:39 left here in the first half. Frontenac a 21-14 lead, and if things stand as they are, Hayden will face a 3rd and 13 from the Raiders' 27-yard line. As the Raiders do accept that penalty. It just looked to me like they had trips right, and the one tried to reset in the slot position right side and was going forward, and didn't give him enough time to reset. Wideouts both sides. Wing to the right, that's Peeler. Motion left to right is Hanukkah, so you got trips right, looking to throw. Over the middle, putting it up for there's the penalty flag. Wilbert came up and hit the intended receiver Moore well in advance.
Yeah, no doubt penalty on that one. In a way, though, it might not have been the worst penalty ever, because if he catches the ball, he easily has the first down and may have been able to get to the end zone. So as far as pass interference penalties go, this one could have been worse.
So now the White Hat talking with its cohorts, and they're going to administrate this pass interference penalty. I don't think you got the spot right. You got to go.
Well, I think they're discussing whether it's half the distance to the goal or it's a spot foul, I think is what they're going to discuss.
It must be half the distance because they're marking it off, stepping it off, and which would put it about, what, the 14? And it will be a first down. So via the penalty route once again, the Wildcats are going to get a first down. They will have a 1st and 10, and it will be at the Hayden's 13-yard line. A minute 18 left first half. Frontenac clinging to that 7-point lead, 21-14. So big series right here. Hanukkah wide left. Now they give dive left side, boy wide open as Van Beesler. He's tripped up and brought down inside the 5.
Yeah, and they're doing a pretty good job of getting to the middle linebackers when they're running that kind. It's not kind of an inside dive. It's a little bit more of an outside veer. And right now they're able to pick up those linebackers. As the last drive they got a good play, on that dive. This time they get it again because the linebacker's getting blocked.
Checking up one from the Raiders 4 and dancing up the middle and getting in for the score. And that is Van Beesler from 4 yards out.
Yeah, and basically same thing. As you've got, it looks like is that Andrew Mays that's slow to get up.
Yeah, it is.
And he's favoring that shoulder that's caused him a lot of problems this year. And he's definitely favoring his shoulder.
So the extra point attempt coming up. And the attempt to tie this football game with 49 seconds left first half. They have missed one already, and I don't know. Was it the shoulder or is it
it's his shoulder. He's favoring that right arm, so it'll be a question really if he can, what pain he can tolerate will dictate honestly whether he's back in the game or not.
And the extra point attempt to tie things up. Good snap, kick is up. Boy, kind of waffled that over. Did Mativi, and we're tied at 21s with 49 seconds left first half, and we'll be back in 30 seconds. You're listening to Frontenac Football on 103.5 FM.
At Performance Spine and Sports, Dr. Bennett specializes in soft tissue-related injuries that result in everyday work and play. Spine and Sports goals your overall physical performance with fast recovery. Dr. Bennett specializes. Performance Spine at Broadway.
Rob Strandbeck with Randy Southard. 49 seconds left first half. We're tied at 21 and into kickoff. Skylar Speck, the freshman, and the short kicker, and he has it teed up at the 40. And the approach, and a low line drive goes far side, and that is picked up and returned on the right side. That is Wilbert, and he's out near the 43-yard line.
That's the danger with those squib kicks. If somebody can field it cleanly, you are giving the Raiders excellent field position. And 44 seconds, 2 timeouts, and the Raiders definitely with the ability to throw the football. I fully expect Coach Smith to go for it. And I was thinking about this earlier in the week, Rob. We have seen the hook and ladder time and time again from Coach Smith. I do not believe this Raider team has ran that one time all year. I wonder if it'll get broken out right now.
Trips to the left. Ginnivan along with Wilburn and Ishamira back in there. Blocking back to the left side of Brown. That's Clothier. Motion left to right. Ginnivan fakes the handoff. And a penalty flag down. It's complete. Ishamira splits a couple of tacklers. Still on his feet. Spins out of a tackle, and he's down to the 39-yard line.
This is coming back. This is going to be an illegal shift. Ginnivan goes in motion, and as he does this, Ishamura makes a step to readjust his alignment, which means both players must reset. Ginnivan didn't stop his motion. It's a penalty. It's a good call.
So 1st and 15 now for the Raiders as they'll start from the 38. their own 38-yard line. Now 36 seconds remaining, and
do find it interesting the white hat threw the flag and not the linesman, though. That was a little bit interesting, but it was an appropriate call.
Yeah, they get a nice game down to the Wildcats' 39-yard line. Now a decision if you want to try with 6 seconds remaining. Of course, you know Mark Smith. I mean, he's not usually too timid when it comes to these situations. Chastain comes wide left. Brown out of the gun. Blocking backs to both sides. Wilbert behind him. Handoff. That's Wilbert. Breaks on the outside. Cuts Boy Bull over a tackler. He's out at the 47-yard line. Man, he's been punishing some tacklers.
Yeah, I was watching Coach Smith see if he was going to take a timeout. He did not. Now, he is calling another play, but a lot of time is running off the clock here. So down to 15 seconds, and the clock's running. The Raiders still trying to get lined up.
Yeah, I guess so. Brown out of the gun. Good snap. Rolling left. Looking to go long.
No.
Puts it up, and boy, he broke off.
No.
They're going to. Oh, he dropped it. He had a pick, and he dropped it. Did more. And with 3 seconds left. Well, that both Gidman ran it out, and Wilbert broke off his pattern, and I think Brown thought it was going to be a fly, and.
Yeah, I think Wilbert broke off the route. Coach Smith was hollering at Wilbert, too. I think he was not supposed to break off that route, was supposed to keep running and go deep. Brown thought he was going to do the same thing, so he let it fly, and that was almost an interception, which would not have been very good. So
he'd have had them all spread out all over the field and would have had a return. It could have been interesting. Now, I'm sure the Raiders are going to go ahead and be tied at half with the choice to start the second half, although they do have couple wideouts to both sides. Brown, he threw that quick hitch to Gittiman, who has a block from Wilbert, and he's inside the 40, and then he is brought down at the 37-yard line. So padding the stats there to get about 15 yards on that pass completion, and boy, oh boy, we've played a half, haven't settled much of anything. We're tied at 21s. We'll be back with the unofficial stat scoring summary and look what else is going on around Frontenac schools after we take a 2-minute break. 2 minutes, you're listening to Frontenac football on 103.5 FM.
It's a feeling you get the moment you step on campus.
It's the knowledge that you become part of something more.
We're a family of crimson and gold.
Every day we challenge ourselves to achieve more.
The reason why we're here is to make a difference.
Everybody wants to stand out.
Without standing apart.
You belong.
At Pittsburgh State University.
Since 1945, Tri-State Building has been helping build the four-state area, providing quality construction services and dependability at competitive prices. Tri-State Building has a reputation as a general contractor and an authorized Butler builder, which holds experience, quality, and reliability above all other considerations. Tri-State Building has built a multitude of projects and is your full-service design build contractor that can take you from concept to grand opening. For an honest and proven contractor, call us, Tri-State Building.
What's the buzz around Community National Bank and Trust? They're talking mobile banking, instant issue debit cards, rewards checking and credit cards, and let's not forget e-power checking, paying better than CD-like rates on a checking account, plus nationwide ATM fee refunds. Get in on the buzz. Community National Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Rob Strand back with Randy Southern at halftime. We're now at the 21s, Frontenac and Hayden in this sub-state contest, this semifinal, Final Four, whatever you want to call it. But we've had a good one here in the first half between the Raiders and the Wildcats. And as the Frontenac Raider dancers perform at halftime, and a big crowd here for this semifinal contest. And, boy, they've been treated to an interesting first half. Taking a look at the unofficial stats and the scoring summary. Hayden Wildcats, Matt Moore, 3 carries for 45 yards. Brandon Van Beesler, 9 carries, 35 yards and a touchdown. Desmond Purnell, 4 carries for 10 yards. Through the air, Samson Houston, 4 completions, 8 attempts, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. Samson Houston's been intercepted once, and the Wildcats did lose a fumble, 2 turnovers in that first half. Frontenac Raiders, Jake Wilbert, 13 carries and 95 yards, 2 scores. Peyton Brown, 6 carries, 47 yards and a touchdown. Gage Clothier, 4 carries, 16 yards. Alex Johnson, 3 carries, 9 yards. And Brock Given a carry for 4 yards. Peyton Brown through the air, 4 of 7, 47 yards. And the Raiders did lose 1 fumble, so 1 turnover for the Raiders in that first half. Scoring summary goes like this. The Raiders scored first, a 5-yard run by Peyton Brown with 5:45 remaining in the first quarter. Trey Harris was good on the extra point. It was Frontenac 7. Hayden nothing with 5:45 remaining in the first quarter. Then with 12 seconds remaining in quarter number 1, the Wildcats responded. The 71-yard touchdown pass from Samson Houston to it was to Matthew Moore. The extra point attempt failed. So with 12 seconds remaining in the first quarter, Frontenac held a 7-6 lead. That was the score. At the end of the first quarter, the Raiders led by a point. In that second quarter, the Wildcats took the lead with 10:57 remaining. That was on a 42-yard touchdown pass from Samson Houston to Deshaun Hanukkah. The 2-point conversion on the pass from Houston to Matthew Moore. And the Wildcats held a 14-7 lead over the Raiders with 10:57 remaining in the first half. Then with 4:50 remaining in the first half, the Raiders scored. 13-yard run by Jake Wilbert. Trey Harris good on the extra point. That knotted things at 14 with 4:50 remaining in the first half. Then with 2:57 remaining in the first half, Jake Wilbert scored again, this time from 4 yards out. Harris good on the extra point. Frontenac held a 21-14 lead with 2:57 remaining in the first half. Then with 49 seconds remaining in the first half, Wildcats responded. A 4-yard run by Van Beesler. Peavy's extra point was good. That knotted it at 21 with 49 seconds remaining in the first half. That's where we are at halftime. A 21-all tie between the Frontenac Raiders and the Hayden Wildcats. And again, the Raiders did win the coin toss. They have the decision here to start the second half. No doubt take the football, try and put some points on the board and break this tie between Frontenac and Topeka Hayden. And again, the other contest in the bracket, the other sub-state, it's at Holcomb and Scott Community, battling Holcomb. Now, they played early in the year, and that was Scott Community winning that over Holcomb. Holcomb's only loss. And do you have an update on that score?
Yeah, late in the second quarter, Holcomb has stretched out a lead now. They lead 27-6 over Scott City.
Holcomb leads?
Holcomb leads.
Really?
Yes.
And again, that was Scott City who won that first contest between the two. And boy, other action that we got going on. Of course, Colgan hosting Opie, Touchfield in Pittsburgh. And as we mentioned, we've got St. Paul at home against Burlingame.
And we'll give you the score updates around the state if you'd like, Rob.
Yeah, go ahead.
In 8-man, you have a back-and-forth game between Burlingame and St. Paul. Right now, Burlingame is up 34-28. That one in the fourth quarter now. Also in 8-man, Spearville is at Hoxie. Spearville 20, Hoxie 36. Then in moving on to Class 2A, you mentioned Colgan hosting Olpe. This is early third quarter. Colgan still holding on to a 7-6 lead right now. So a defensive battle over in Pittsburgh. Also in 2A out west, Smith Center with a commanding 30-0 lead at the halftime over Plainville. Smith Center dominating yet again. Class 3A, Silver Lake is at Sabetha at the half. Silver Lake 6, Sabetha 7. So a close one between Silver Lake and Sabetha. Out west, Marysville and Phillipsburg, they're almost at halftime. They're knotted at 14. So 2 good games in 3A tonight. Then we discussed 4A Division II going to 4A Division I. Mentioned earlier, Bishop Miege early was losing to DeSoto. They have come back at the half. They lead 35-17, Bishop Miege over DeSoto. Then out west, 4A Division I at the half, Andale 20, McPherson 6. Going up to 5A, Mill Valley is at St. Thomas Aquinas. This is almost at halftime. St. Thomas Aquinas 35, Mill Valley 7. So a big lead for St. Thomas Aquinas. On the other side, you've got Goddard visiting Bishop Carroll. That one's at the half. Bishop Carroll 13, Goddard 10.
That's supposed to be a good one.
Yeah, a tight one at Bishop Carroll. And then might as well round it out. We'll go to 6A. Blue Valley North is at Blue Valley. This one is in midway through the second quarter. Blue Valley 24, Blue Valley North 14. And then the other half of that one is Derby visiting Wichita Northwest. This one's at the half. Northwest 28, Derby 20.
So there's your rundown of the scores that we do have. And boy, some battles going on there. Some ones that was in. You mentioned Andale. Of course, that's who played Labette County during the season, beat the Grizzlies 39-0. So they're pretty good out west there in that. But some of those interesting you want to keep an eye on. I think you had Marysville and Phillipsburg. Is that they were knotted on. There's two heavyweights going at it there, and I mean heavyweights. But, some good ball games going. We'll keep you up to date as much as possible. And the Frontenac Raider Marching Band done performing here at halftime before a big crowd here in this sub-state contest. And at halftime, Frontenac and Hayden tied at 21s. And why don't we take another 2-minute break? And you're listening to Frontenac Football on 103.5 FM. And Rob Strand back with Randy Southard. We're at halftime of this Class 4A Division II Sub-State. And Frontenac Raiders and the Hayden Wildcats tied at 21. And again, the other 4A Division II Sub-State contest at Holcomb. Holcomb, big lead over Scott Community. And want to keep an eye on there. Of course, the winner of this one, the winner of that one will meet 1 week tomorrow in Salina for the Class 4A Division II title. But first half here, interesting to say the least. I guess we could go over some of the stuff that's going on at the school, but we're kind of transitioned now as we've gone through the, the lame week or dead week, whatever you want to call it, where you couldn't do anything. And now they've, I guess Monday started with some of the practices, the basketball and wrestling and the like. Of course, shorthanded some as the football players in an extra week here. And so a lot of that underway. And, they're getting the schedules out and the thing. You're kind of looking at those things, but it's still football season if you're a Raider here. And so that's kind of front and center right here. And, again, a nice crowd for this sub-state contest. And, going in at halftime, again, the Raiders – I'm assuming we'll take the football to start the second half, and knotted at 21 again. Both teams have had a lead. Both teams have come from behind, and boy, it's going to be a battle of attrition. And I think, it's not brain surgery, but boy, you keep an eye on those turnovers, and that usually comes up big.
Yeah, that basically for me, for both teams on offense, that is the key. Do not turn the football over. I'm sure that ball security is the biggest focus for both teams because they've both been able to move the football. I think Frontenac's been able to move it a little bit easier than Topeka Hayden is, especially on the ground. But overall, it's the difference right now is the 2 turnovers that Frontenac got there in the second quarter and was able to cash both of those short fields into points. And actually, for me, defensively, the keys are the same, too. The linebackers on both teams need to start making more plays. You're seeing both sides. Their linebackers are getting blocked a little bit too much, and they are the key tacklers for both of these squads. You've got Peevler for Topeka Hayden, makes a ton of tackles, and he's made his fair share, but he's getting blocked more than what he needs to. And I guarantee you right now, Jordan Ishimura is getting blocked too much for the Raider defense from that middle linebacker spot. So expect a little bit of adjustments on alignments for both teams to free up their linebackers a little bit more so that they can make plays to shut down the opposing team's running games.
And, we knew going in, you're talking one of the state heavyweights here, reputation-wise, with Hayden. And like I said, I can go way back where we were 2A. You would just hear of Hayden. You'd never think you'd end up playing them. And here we are playing them in a semifinal game. And, boy, they've been holding their own and pretty much taking it to them. We had talked about earlier, we talked to some, of course, Holton in their district, one of their rivals, Burlington, talked to them. They Hayden kind of fancies being the bully, maybe a late hit, cheap shot there. And, we watched it at Burlington and the like, and you can see that here tonight. But, the officials kind of trying to rein it in, but it doesn't look like the Raiders impacted by that at all. This juncture, one time we maybe lost a cool after when I think we would have been the recipient of a penalty, but, response made it offsetting. But, they played well. Good first half.
Yeah, both teams just playing extremely hard. And, this Frontenac team is not one that's going to be intimidated by anybody, no matter what anybody says. Now, Coach Smith, I'm sure, discussed that a little bit too. Hey, we got to keep our cool, let them make a mistake. If there's going to be any kind of unsportsmanlike penalties or late hits or anything like that, let it be them that get it, not us. Take advantage of that. But, this team's not about to be intimidated by anybody. And, as hard as they've tried, I don't think it's worked for Topeka Hayden.
And both teams out now for the mandatory 3-minute warm-up before the start of the second half. And again, the Raiders will have the choice, and assuming they'll take the football to start the third quarter as both teams out warming up and getting ready for what should be an interesting second half. We're tied at halftime, Frontenac and Hayden at 21s, and we'll be back for the start of the second half after we take a 2-minute break. And you're listening to Frontenac Football on 103.5 FM. Rob Strand back with Randy Souther, the Frontenac Raiders Sports Complex. We got a half to go with this sub-state contest, and the Frontenac Raiders and the Hayden Wildcats tied at 21. And again, the Raiders will have the choice to start the second half, take the football, and see if they can break this tie. And, I would say, Coach Smith talking to the Raiders at halftime, probably pretty pleased. I mean, saying, they had some opportunities, but still being even, and you're in the contest, and you're got a half to go, and they've played well the second half of all these recent contests.
Yeah, absolutely. I think very pleased with the first half. Some minor adjustments to be made. Did notice, Andrew Mays went out late in that second quarter. He's had a bad shoulder all year that he's been playing with, and was favoring that shoulder. He is warmed up on the sideline. He appears ready to go. Got his helmet with him, so looks like he'll be seeing the field when the Raiders go on defense.
And the white hat and his cohorts, middle of the field, and I don't know if they've let him know what they were wanting to do. Or But
I did want to mention too, Rob. I should have mentioned this earlier. The Topeka Hayden coaches are right next to us, and I don't know if people have been hearing them, but they are quite excitable next door. So if you hear some yelling in the background, that would be the Topeka Hayden coaches. So
yes, indeed. And we had some score updates too.
Yeah. Real quick. St. Paul has tied it against Burlingame 34-34 with just under 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The winner of that game will play Hoxie as they defeated Spearville 44-20. And then over in Pittsburgh, Olpe has scored and taken the lead. It's 12-7 Olpe over Colgan.
Wow, interesting there over at Hutchfield in Pittsburgh. And so we'll keep you updated on those scores of area interest as well as statewide. And ready for the start of the second half, and looks like the Raiders again will want the football, and they will have their backs to the west goal here at the Raiders Sports Complex here in the third quarter.
It should be just a tremendous second half. First half certainly did not disappoint, and I doubt that the second half will either.
And, of course, at the end of the contest, we'll go over an official stat scoring summary. Coach Mark Smith will come up for some comments. And as we've done all season long right here on 103.5 FM, and, of course, we stream the contests live at ESPN1007.com. And now the Wildcats going to their long kicker as Hayden Federico, the left footer, tees it up at the 40-yard line. Back to receive the kick is Trey Strand along with Ishimura. It's Brendan, short end over end, and taking it the up back, and that is Wilbert. Oh, he almost lost the football, and he was brought down at the 33-yard line. Boy, ball security an issue with Jake here this evening. Is looked like that one was kind of bobbling around out there.
Yeah, that's one of those tough ones when you try to go completely across the width of the field, and fortunate to hold on to the ball as he's put it on the ground twice. Now he's picked up both of his, but the Raiders did lose one fumble there in the first half.
So 1st and 10 Raiders. They'll start from their own 33-yard line. Shamira wide right. They got a slot to the right as well as left. That's Wilbur in motion left to right. And faking the handoff is Brown's going to keep it. Oh, my. And he was able to maybe gain about a yard, but, boy, it looked like Wilbur had some room along the outside.
Well, Brown was one step from a big play. Because when they fake that jet sweep, the linebacker just takes off to the outside, try to get out there, and with the wideouts all spreading the defense out, if he gets across the line of scrimmage clean, it's basically him and the free safety in the end zone.
So 2nd and 9, Raiders from their own 34-yard line. Again, Brown out of the gun. Blocking back, that's Clothier. Option right side. Brown's going to keep it. It's got the first down and more. He is tripped up. Wildcat territory down at the 46.
Yeah, and in the second quarter ran the exact same play. Brown made the exact same read and was able to get a big play out of it and does it again. So excellent read by the senior quarterback, and he's ran very well tonight, ran hard.
And he didn't hesitate. He just cut it up. He has been the last half of the season been doing that, and it's usually come at opportune times.
Yeah. Well, it's what experience will do. You know, it's his first year starting. Took him a while to get, I think, confident in the offense. He's fully confident now.
Raiders 1st and 10 from the Wildcats 46, and Brown's going to keep it. Try the left side. Boy, nothing doing there. And this time he was hemmed in and brought down by Brady Bohannon. And, boy, a bad choice there. Just to turn it up and take what he could have gotten out of it, at least not have lost those 5 or 6 yards.
Yeah, and that was a read, and this time not the greatest decision. Probably should have given that ball in the jet sweep. He decided to try to keep it. Hayden had everything stoned up in the middle, no place for Brown to go, and then when he tried to kind of bounce, that made it even worse.
2nd and 16 Raiders now from their own 48-yard line. Running backs in the eye behind Brown under the center with the snap. Rolling right, looking to throw, pumps once. Boy, and he is able to get rid of it, and boy, there's a penalty. That's going to be a ground.
Yeah, no question. He just chucked the ball and no receiver anywhere in sight. You know, and early on this, I thought he had Ishimura on the out pattern, had him open on the far side, but he was looking to get a little bit bigger play out of it. And by the time he came back to Ishimura, the defense had caught up with him. But I don't think there'll be much question. The question is where to spot it.
Right, because he was thrown for about a 15-yard loss, and they're going to attack 5 onto that after the 27-yard line.
Plus, this will be loss of down, so it should be 3rd down now, and it's going to be 3rd and forever.
The football resting at the Raiders' 28-yard line. We're going the wrong way now.
Tell you one thing that has been nice. I don't think every flag that's been thrown tonight, there's really been no question about it. They've been appropriate calls, so that's been pleasant tonight.
Out of the gun, Brown. Low snap, quick hitch, left side. That's Wilbert getting the block from Ginnivan. And he was knocked down at the 40. And it was a nice gain of some 13 yards.
Yeah, it's a knife safe play, and the thing about it, that play there is designed for field position. So now it's up to Harris to come in, get a good punt, and again, you do not want to get a low kick directly to Hanukkah. This kid is very dangerous in the punt return game.
Hanukkah along with Purnell. Good snap. Harris gets the punt away high, get it covered. And boy, it almost hit one of the Hayden players. Let it roll. It's down at the 21-yard line. And boy, once again, what I've harped about us all season long, not finding the football. That almost came down on one of the Wildcats there. That would have been huge.
But an excellent punt. He's gone every time he's punted tonight. He's gone for hang time to let some defenders get down there to cover the ball. And does it again this time, pins them back in their own 21. So a good job by Harris.
9:29 left here in the third quarter, tied at 21. 1st and 10, Hayden from its own 21-yard line.
And Hayden gets a stop on their defensive side, so this becomes a big possession. You want to play with the lead here in this second half.
Hanukkah wide left, Purnell, right side motion, right to left. Reversing out and keeping the football this time is Houston. And he takes a shot, and he's planted. He flirted with the 25-yard line, able to gain about 4, but he paid for it.
Yeah, and this time they fake that kind of outside veer to the fullback and use him as a lead blocker. The Raiders a little bit better defensive position this time on that outside veer run.
2nd and 6, Hayden from its own 25-yard line. Clock moving, 9 minutes left, third quarter, tied at 21. Hanukkah wide left. Give the fullback is Van Beesler. Now in motion to the right is Purnell, and they give it. And boy, there's a dive up the middle, and boy, planted at the 34-yard line for the big gain.
Well, and I'm not sure if this was a blitz or a misread, but the middle linebacker on that side of the field, he ended up hitting basically like the B gap. Well, the ball was going through the C gap, out a little bit wider, and I don't know if that was a blitz or just if he misread it, because when he went into that hole, that left the opening for the back to run through.
So 1st and 10, Wildcats from their own 34-yard line now, moving the ball on the ground. There's a pitch, sweep, left side, and there's a blow, and he's got a nice gain, and he's got a 1st down out near the 45-yard line.
And right now some momentum getting with Topeka Hayden, getting the Raider defense a little on their heels. Somebody out there needs to make a play, wake the defense up here.
So 1st and 10, Wildcats now at their own 44-yard line. Clock moving down to 8:20 left third quarter. Again, knotted at 21. Wildcats on the move on the ground.
Now, I do believe that was the first time they've ran that quick pitch. They've ran it, a lot this year, but then they waited till the third quarter to spring it on the Raiders.
Hanukkah splits wide left. Purnell motion right to left, and there they give that dive to the left side. And, well, pretty well defended. They able to pick up about, boy, there's a lot of action over along the far sideline. And I don't know if they got tangled up over there, but I don't know, was this Shamir and Hanukkah going at it?
No, actually, I think that was just a good clean block, and they kind of ended up on the sideline, but I didn't see anything particularly wrong with that. And that ended up, that play and was almost like ISO, which, you have not seen that much from Raiders' opponents, as Mays has come to the sideline and Cummins is coming in to give him a break.
I'm not sure exactly what that was about. Did the helmet come off or something? But he rushed to the sideline. 2nd and 7, Wildcats from their own 47-yard line. Looking to throw, rolling right. As Houston looking over the middle, puts it up, and it is caught. And Riley McDaniel throws down the receiver, and that is Matthew Moore, but a big gain.
And McDaniel's got pretty decent coverage on this, but it's an excellent throw. Threw it to where the receiver could use his body as a shield. McDaniel not able to get around him to get to the ball, and just a very accurate throw by Houston, the quarterback.
So 1st and 10, Hayden from the Frontenac 32-yard line. Hanukkah wide left. Wings to both sides. Van Beesler, the fullback. Give the Van Beesler the fullback, and he cuts into the defensive backfield, and he is collared at the 19 and has a first down.
Well, and the linebacker this time, he was headed to the right hole, but he got too wide, and the back was able to cut inside of him and completely whiffed on the tackle.
Clock moving, 6:52 remaining here in the third quarter. Tied at 21, but Hayden moving the football on the ground, 1st and 10 from the Frontenac 19-yard line.
And Mays back in the game, maybe a little bit of a talking to, not happy with his play of the first part of this drive.
Houston under the center, looking to throw, looking left, a quick out, and that is dropped by the intended receiver, Hanukkah.
Yeah, good coverage out there. Ended up with double teams. Johnson was getting out to the flat in his zone coverage, so well defended. Even if he catches this one, 2 defenders right there, probably wasn't going to get very far.
So 2nd and 10. Wildcats from the Raiders, 19.
Did notice, too, a little bit more double teams up front on the tackles. The Raider tackles being double teamed, so those linebackers should be free. They've got to start making some tackles.
Hanukkah splits to the right side this time. Purnell. More in motion. There's a good defensive play by Ishamira. Got good penetration. He tripped up. Was that Van Beesler, the fullback? And
yeah, he hit the right hole this time, and he read it. Got in there, but I think he was almost startled that the fullback had it. I think he was headed more towards the quarterback and tailback, but was able to get enough of the fullback getting down. So a big 3rd and long now. But again, this field position, you would have to figure it's 4-down territory.
Hanukkah wide left. Houston, dive, left side, Van Beesler. No, they got him this time.
Yeah, Ishamira again, Jordan from that linebacker spot. He fills the right hole, and he's blocked, but he does an excellent job of getting off the block. Used his hands, shed the block, was able to get in the ball carrier. So now he's hitting the right hole and making a couple of plays 2 in a row for the senior linebacker.
Boy, a big 4th and 10 for the Wildcats from the Raiders, 19-yard line with 5.5 minutes remaining third quarter, tied at 21. Hanukkah comes wide right. Wings to both sides, Van Beesler the fullback. Houston under center. And he's good keeping the football. Brock Gilman chasing him. He slides down, throws up into the end zone, and it is picked off and loose along the far sideline. Trying to see, needs a block, gets a block. Still on his feet, Riley McDaniels needs one more block. Cal Strand trying to escort him along the far side. He does. He knocks him down. He's going to go all the way. Touchdown.
Oh, my goodness. He comes out of nowhere to make this pick. Johnson's the man in coverage, and Johnson, I thought, had pretty good coverage and was going to knock it down. McDaniel comes over out of nowhere as the ball flutters a little bit, and he took off down the sideline, broke one tackle, zigzagged his way back and forth to set up the block by Strand, and goes in the end zone for the huge score. What a turn of events. Looks like for all the world, Topeka Hayden's going to go down and take the lead, and the Raiders just turned the tables.
And the extra point attempt coming up. Nice effort by Wilbert to get the ball down. And the kick is good. 5:02 remaining here in the third quarter. Frontenac, the 28-21 lead. We'll be back in 30 seconds. You're listening to Frontenac Football on 103.5 FM.
Haynes Incorporated in Frontenac is the driveline specialist. Haynes handles all driveline repairs for cars.
Rob Strand back with Randy Southern. 5:02 left third quarter. Frontenac leads Hayden 28-21. The Raiders to kick off. Trey Harris will tee it up at the 40. Back to receive the kick is Purnell, flanked by Anand and Miller. Boy, what a turnaround.
I've got to be honest, Rob, I didn't even see McDaniel coming over. I was just watching Johnson try to make a play on the ball in defensive coverage, and all of a sudden you told me it was an interception. I was like, where in the world did that come from?
He was streaking, and boy, had nothing but green in front of him, got a few key blocks, and Raiders have the lead. Harris approaches. Well, this one, the low line drive left side. Purnell is going to take it back at the 2. Takes it up the middle, trying to go to the left outside. Gets the corner turn, and he's got a nice return, and then is run out of bounds about the in the neighborhood of the 30-yard line.
Yeah, and him showing off his speed. Now, maybe not the greatest angles taken by a couple of the kickoff coverage men, but, you know, there's the speed that Purnell has. And, again, he's just a freshman, so he's going to be somebody to contend with as, you know, he gets a little bit older.
So 1st and 10. Hayden will start from its own 30-yard line with 4:53 left here in the third quarter. In Frontenac, the 28-21 lead. Hennicook goes wide left. Houston under the center. And there's Purnell trying the left side. Boy, he's actually brought down about the 35, a gain of 5. But, boy, it looked like it opened up there, and he might have been about a step from going.
Yeah, he may have got caught from behind because, again, linebacker gets caught up in the wash, can't get out to the outside to make the play. So it's really, at this point, to me, both defenses, it's all about linebacker play, quite frankly. If the linebackers can make plays, the other team's probably not going to move the ball. If the linebackers don't get there, you're going to have running room.
2nd and 4, Wildcats from their own 36-yard line. Houston under the center. Rolling right. When they give it a little trap play, and the carry that time was Purnell, and he's got the first down after gaining about 6 yards.
Yeah, a little crossbuck. Now there's a penalty flag in the backfield, Rob, and I think this is going to be a hold. Now there was a little pushing and shoving going on after the play too. Now the officials haven't seen this, so there's no flag on that. But this is going to be a hold, so that's going to negate the first down carry and push him back, and it looks like it's going to be about second, maybe 15 or 16 here.
As the football is going to be spotted at the Wildcats' 24-yard line, where they will face a 2nd and about 16. Clock moving, 4:08 left here in the third quarter. In front of 28-21 lead. Hennicook comes wide to the right side. Good. Houston under the center, the senior, and they give it up the middle. Boy, nice game. Still on his feet, and boy, breaking tackles, got close to the first down.
Yeah, and the Raiders blitz this time, but they end up missing on the blitz, don't get to the proper hole. And then good, hard running as he gets all the way down. He's going to end up setting up a 3rd short as they've got a player down now. Looks like an offensive lineman.
Originally, I thought that was the ball carrier had trouble getting up, unless one of the linemen got run up on.
Maybe Schmidtline, I believe.
Anyway, it's going to be just short of the first 3rd and 1 for the Wildcats from their own 39-yard line.
Well, he appears to be in quite a bit of pain.
Was that Purnell who carried that ball that last time? I couldn't even.
No.
Was that Moore?
No, I believe that was Van Beesler.
Okay, Van Beesler is one of the Wildcats still down.
And they're looks like more lower leg.
And
doesn't appear to be a cramping situation.
Well, it almost looked like he was on his stomach and tried to get up and then pulled himself up, but maybe he got run up. Now that's Van Beesler.
Yeah, and he's not wanting to put a whole lot of pressure on that left leg right now. I'm not sure if it's an ankle maybe. Maybe as he was fighting for more yardage, twisted his ankle a little bit. Hard to tell.
3:40 left here in the third quarter. Frontenac 28-21 lead.
Boy, a big play here.
One from their own 39-yard line.
Yeah, this is huge. You get a stop here, then back in their own territory, hard to say whether they'd go for it.
Houston under the center, they give it, and they've got the first down. Boy, nice tackle there coming up. Was that Wilbert who cut the legs out of the front of the runner Moore, but he was able to pick up about 5.
Yeah, big hole, right side offensive line. Heck, they had a couple linemen never even touched anybody and still had a hole. So need some adjustments again from that Raider front 7 or 8.
1st and 10. Wildcats football resting just shy of their own 45-yard line. Clock moving. We're down to 3:10 left third quarter. Frontenac the 28-21 lead. Houston under center, gives it, sweep to the left side, Purnell, and he just stood up after a gain of 4 out to the 49-yard line.
Yeah, defended fairly well, but again, getting caught up in the wash, those linebackers just not making enough plays right now.
So we'll talk a 2nd and 6 Hayden from its own 49-yard line.
In fact, the Raiders have just subbed one of the linebackers, so looks like coaches are maybe seeing the same type of thing.
Hanukkah goes wide left. They've got wide right Purnell, and they give just that trap left side. And this time, a nice effort there.
And that's the new linebacker in the game, Nathan Kaufman. Shot through the hole and got into the legs, tripping him up, and no gain.
I believe that was Noah Williams in there, and that's him as his first carry. He's apparently in there for Van Beesler. And a 3rd and 3 for the Wildcats. Football inside the Raiders' 49-yard line. So big 3rd down. I don't know if you're talking 4-down situation here or not, but Houston, option, left side. Nothing doing. Boy, they stop him back. And did the ball come out? Looked like they were scrambling for the football. A nice effort there by Houston. He was stacked up back about the 49, right at midfield. And I guess that's where they're going to spot it.
Boy, that seems like a strange call to me. The option has not worked all night long, and you've had something going with your counter trey or your outside veer. Yet you go for the option and get stoned on it. Now it's 4th and 4 at midfield, and I have a feeling they're going to go for it.
With a minute and a half remaining 3rd quarter, and Frontenac up by a touchdown, 28-21, 4th and 4, football at midfield, out of the gun this time. Now in motion, rolling right, and some pressure. Oh, they punted. Good effort there, but it's not that good of a punt. Now it's rolling and taking a roll, and it's going to stop shy of the Raiders' 15, but defensive stand by the Raiders. They got the football and up to 28-21 with a minute 9 left 3rd quarter.
And a good defensive stand there by the Raider defense. Gave up a couple first downs, but they forced the punt. And, I don't care if you got the ball back at your own 15-yard line. You got the stop. You got the football back. That's the number one thing.
Yeah, now you got that touchdown lead, a minute 9 left 3rd quarter. And here's where you need to take some time off the clock, have a nice drive, put some points on the board. But, boy, it's been pretty quick strike on a lot of this stuff. Now Brown under the center with Wilbert. Single setback behind him. Pitch, sweep, right side. Wilbert gets some blocks. He's got some room. He is out across the 30. Cuts the 40, 45 midfield. Big gain.
Yeah, and an excellent job of holding on to the football at the end. He wasn't putting this one on the ground, but this is something new again from the Raider offense. I do not think they have run a toss sweep from under center all year long. But they pulled, or they didn't pull, they sent in motion Ginnivan. He ends up being a lead blocker, gets a great kick-out block. Everything sealed to the inside, 2 kick-out blocks, big hole up the center, and the safety was nowhere to be found.
1st and 10 Raiders. Football at midfield, out of the gun. Brown, option, right side, boy, it's open. He pitches back, and boy, that closed quick. That looked like he had some real estate out there, and Clothier was stopped for a gain of only a yard.
Yeah, I thought he might keep that just a little bit longer and press it just a little more to see if he could get some movement. But decided to pitch it out there, and the pitch man this time, not Wilbert, he pitches it over to Clothier, and not quite the speed that Wilbert's got to get to the outside.
And we're at that point where you can let the clock wind down and get to the 4th quarter as play clock about a second behind the clock up on the board, and that'll do it for the 3rd quarter. Frontenac a 28-21 lead with the football at midfield. We'll be back in 30 seconds. You're listening to Frontenac Football on 103.5 FM.
Advanced technology, comprehensive quality care. That's Canar Eye Care. We have the newest technology, but we never lose sight of what's most important, our patients. Eye care has changed dramatically in recent years, and we are there for you every step of the way. Eye care, patients spend time with doctors. Total eye care and contact lenses, including rifle contacts, treatment of disease.
Rob Strand with Randy Southard. We got a quarter to go here at the Raiders Sports Complex. Frontenac with a 28-21 lead over Hayden, and the Raiders with a 2nd and 10 football at midfield. And, boy, should be an exciting one to wrap this up.
Yeah, absolutely. And interesting 3rd quarter, more defense dominated than the first half, quite frankly. Although Hayden did have one nice drive, and the Raiders get the score on the pick 6. But Frontenac now gets one good run, a big run from Wilbert to get out of deep in their own ends. Ball at midfield, 2nd and 10. And, boy, if you get a score here, you got to start feeling like this could happen tonight.
Coming wide to right is Shamira. Slot right is Wilbert. Tight to left is Ginnivan. Tight to right, Roseboro. Out of the gun, Brown. Motion right to left to Wilbert. Hand to Wilbert. Trying to turn the corner. Hemmed in, and boy, not much doing. He's stopped for no gain.
And that's Peevler. And again, when he starts that motion, that linebacker is already heading that way. And this time he was not. He didn't get caught up in the wash. Able to get to the outside just as Wilbert got there too.
So 3rd and 10 for the Raiders football at midfield. Minute 33, or excuse me, 11:33 remaining, and Frontenac with that 28-21 lead.
Now, this would not surprise me if they roll Brown out to the right side, where he's got the option to either run or throw it.
Got trips to the right side. Slowly the blocking back for Brown. Quick hit. Oh, he's wide open. That's Ishamira. He's got the first down. Protect football. He's down at the 34-yard line.
Well, this is the same thing they did in the first half on 3rd and long, and Wilbert caught it. This time it's Ishamira. That's like they're all going to go 4 deep. You know, all 4 go, and they just slow down and hit them, and they're taking huge drops. You know, backpedaling. It's wide open, and it's an easy run for the first down.
1st and 10 Raiders from the Wildcats' 34-yard line. Out of the gun, Brown. Motion right to left, Wilbert out of the slot. They give it this time to Clothier. It's wide open, 30, 25, 20. Tripped up, brought down at the 17-yard line.
Yeah, this is where a little misdirection can really mess up Hayden's linebackers, because you've got the jet sweep that we've ran several times tonight, and they cheat. Those linebackers cheat headed towards that. You pull a couple of linemen back to the backside. You get sealed blocks. You get some kickouts. Big hole. Nice job blocking up front. Clothier hit it hard.
So 1st and 10 Raiders from the 17 of the Wildcats. 10.5 minutes remaining. Frontenac the 28-21 lead. Ginnivan wide left, double teamed out there. Slot right is Ishamira. Wilbert, the running back behind Brown. And there's the give. Wilbert tried to go to left. Boy, he looked like he had a hold of that face mask. He was stopped for no gain, but kind of took a late twist there.
Yeah, and got pushed back. That left side of the line that time was blocked so well all night. Got pushed back just a little bit. And Wilbert, they pushed him back far enough where he couldn't make a cut off of it in time, and so just made it back to the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 10 Raiders. Football resting outside the 17 of the Wildcats. Ginnivan wide to the right. Shamira slot right. Clothier to the left side in the slot. Wilbert, the running back behind Brown. Good snap. Drawing, looking over the middle. Brown forced a scramble. Boy, he had to eat it back at the 22-yard line, a loss of 5.
Yeah, and the play action looking to catch Topeka Hayden off guard, but they are very disciplined on play action type passes and not fooled, nowhere to run, and he was kind of just caught in the pocket, wasn't able to scramble to the outside.
So 3rd and 14 Raiders from the 21 of the Wildcats with 9:15 remaining in front of the 28-21 lead. And, apparently, Mark Smith going to let that play clock wind down and call a timeout, as we'll be flirting with the 9-minute mark when this timeout is called. They do call time at 9:01 remaining. Frontenac the 28-21 lead, and the Raiders face a 3rd and it's called 14 from the Wildcats' 21-yard line. Now you're talking 4-down territory, obviously, but do you try a field goal?
I would say this isn't. I think this depends on what we get. On 3rd down here, obviously you'd love to convert it for a 1st down, but if you get enough yards, do you make it more manageable to go for it on 4th down? But if you get some yardage here too, you set yourself up for a much easier field goal, which makes it a 2-possession game. And with what's going to be underneath 9 minutes to go in the game, 2 possessions, could be worth trying the field goal, which Harris has made a couple of field goals now this year, and I'm sure he's got his confidence up that he can go out there and make a pressure kick.
And the only thing, you got it on this hash, so you got that angle where you'd have to draw it to the left. Now, he did hit a long one at Parsons, this very type of situation, and drew it in from the right side. But we'll see what happens here and see if maybe a little more manageable and get a 4th down, maybe consider going for it. 9:01 remaining. Frontenac the 28-21 lead. Raiders face a 3rd and 14 from the Hayden 21-yard line. Ginnivan goes wide left. Alex Johnson slot left. Ishamira wide right. And Zach Roseboro now in the slot to the right side. Option left side. Go straight option. Wilbert, no, they missed the block. And he's going to be hemmed in, and he dives down to about the 17, made the best of what was a bad situation as they missed the block out on the left side.
Yeah, and if he gets that block, he's got some, he's got some real estate. But now the field goal team is going to come out onto the field, and one thing to watch is Topeka Hayden has come very close to blocking a couple of the extra points. So that's something you definitely don't want here is a block kick, and because that could be returned for, a touchdown too. So a big play here. Raiders trying to make it a 2-possession game.
At the 25, a 35-yard field goal attempt by Trey Harris. Oh, and a penalty flag now. And who's it against?
It's offsides.
Now,
Topeka Hayden.
The 5. I'm assuming you're still planning on going for the field goal. But
I
that
think
makes it a little more doable.
Yeah, I think you still kick it right here. But yeah, it was someone on the far side. It was like what would be a defensive tackle jumped into the neutral zone.
So now on a respot, it'll be at the 20-yard line, making it a 30-yard field goal attempt, and pretty much straight on, which we shall see. Like you said, they came close. One of the extra points. Good snap placement down. Kick is up plenty long enough. It's good.
What a
30-yard field goal by Trey Harris. The Raiders lead it at 31-21, 8 minutes left. We'll be back in 30 seconds. You're listening to Frontenac Football on 103.5 FM.
Hi, this is Dr. Brent Cousins with SEK Urgent Care. When you're sick, when you're injured, or when you just don't feel like yourself, SEK Urgent Care is here for you. Let our state providers your non-life-threatening illness or injury at a fraction of the time and cost of any other.
Rob Strand back with Randy Southard. 8 minutes remaining. Frontenac 31-21. If you think this week's lasted a long time, this day's lasted a long time, this 8 minutes is going to seem like an eternity here.
Yeah.
And, boy, the Raiders see how they do on this kick cover. Is Trey Harris from the 40. End over end kick, and that's going to go into the end zone, I do believe. Yes, it does. So Wildcats will start from their own 20-yard line.
Yeah, great kick. Harris gets a little pumped up there after nailing that field goal. Hit it true. Boy, just hit it as clean as could be. Knocked that one right through. And that's huge, making this the 2-possession game.
Man, they always say going into the season, the offense is behind the defense. The defense has kind of carried the Raiders at this point, and see if they can come up with a big series here, kind of with the 10-point lead and 8 minutes remaining, and see how the defense responds, kind of stifle this Wildcat offense.
You would think Hayden's got to try to get it to Hanukkah on the outside at some point.
And they try the right side on the dive, and boy, he's hemmed in and then tattooed. Boy, picking his way through. There's Matthew Moore, and well defended. He was dancing in place looking for a hole, and then he paid for the price for a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, he got pinballed around in there. Probably 4 or 5 Raiders got a lick on him. Give him credit for staying on his feet to pick up the 2.
2nd and 8. Wildcats from their own 22-yard line. Hanukkah goes wide right. Houston under the center. Looking to throw, rolling right, looking to go long, pressured, puts it up for grabs. No, it's dropped. Well defended. Wilbert was there, but that was Ishamira. Almost had the pick.
Yeah, and there
and
they tried.
Hanukkah almost came up with it, too.
Yeah, and that's the size differential. You throw it up to your tall receiver. I knew they had to try to get it to him eventually, and he just kind of tried to reach over the top of Ishamira. Almost came up with it. I think that's Wilbert that's
Wilbert
a little
was
slow.
over there helping out, and I don't know if he was took a shot at the end of that or not. I think he was kind of going up for the football, and, he's been taking some punishment out there, been on that field a lot, and now they're going to come to the sideline under his own power, and I know he just probably worn out with 7:20 remaining. Frontenac 31-21 lead, and a 3rd and 8 for the Wildcats from their own 22-yard line.
Yeah, I got the final score in the Olpe-Colgan game. Colgan holds on and wins 15-12. Olpe had a pass deflected in the end zone that fell incomplete, and that was with a minute to go in the game, so they had a chance at the end, but Colgan moves on to the state title game.
So a couple of wideouts right, one left. Houston, quick hitch, right side. They give it to Hanukkah. Oh, and he is loose as he took a hitch pass, and he's still on his feet, and they finally drag him down about the 49-yard line. Boy, it looked like it was well defended, but he just took off and got the first down and much more.
Well, and this is like the wide receiver screen where 2 linemen pull out, and the Raiders really got outmanned on the outside, and he shows off his speed. He was about 1 step from taking this one to the house and getting 7 points back for Topeka Hayden. So I think that was Mays that was able to track him down to keep that one from going on the board.
1st and 10, Wildcats now at the Raiders' 48-yard line after that long completion. Under center, Houston. And gives Purnell trying the left side. Oh, he got stopped right about the line of scrimmage. And boy, was that Lloyd came in, Mays came in, and once again, they punished him.
Yeah, and actually the first penetration was Hayden Pyle. Does a good job of getting in the backfield, and he just kind of made him stutter step and messed everything up from the get-go. Then here comes the cavalry to finish him off. So good team defense, well defended.
6:45 remaining. Frontenac up 31-21. 2nd and 10 Wildcats from the Raiders' 48-yard line. And rolling right. Houston pressured. Boy, he avoids the pressure, throws it up and wide open. It's overthrown, intended for Frederico.
And there's the pressure that's just saved the Raiders because he was wide open behind the defense. And I mean 7-8 yards behind the defense. But the pressure up the middle from Cummins forced the quick throw. I believe that was Cummins, or it may have been Harris, actually. Got the pressure, and he just had to unload it, and the ball sailed too long.
So 3rd and 10. Hayden at the Frontenac 48-yard line with 6:33 remaining. Big 3rd and long. Houston with the snap, rolling right. Some pressure, cuts inside that pressure, and boy, he puts it up, and it is caught. Oh, that is Peebler came out. He got wrestled Wilbert for it and got the first down.
I tell you, what a catch and what a throw as well. He threw it the only place he could keep it away from the defender. Wilbert gets there right at the same time and hits him just as the ball gets there. A clean play. And Peebler somehow manages to hold on to convert it for a first down.
Wildcats 1st and 10 from the Raiders' 35-yard. Boy, there was movement. It looked like on the far side. And Sampson puts it up and wide open, and that is Hanukkah, and he's brought down at the 17.
Yeah, and double teamed out there and still managed to get himself open. An easy pitch and catch for a long play down the sideline, and now another Raider slow to get up. He was in pass coverage, and that's Wilbert again, slow to get up.
So, yeah, he was involved in, I think he's just banged up. He's been in there a lot of big plays, taking a beating, and he's involved in that one, like you said.
And he dishes a lot of hits out, which, you know, it's not as bad when you're delivering the blow, but it's still another hit. So, and give Wilbert credit for one thing, when he does play extremely hard. He's flying around on that field all the time. So, I think he'll be just fine. Just maybe needs a quick spell here.
6:06 remaining. Frontenac the 10-point lead, 31-21. Hayden has a 1st and 10 from the Frontenac 17, and boy, I'll tell you what, give Sampson Houston credit there, as he's been pressured, but he just kind of sidesteps at the last 3 throws. That buys the time, and then he's been able to find the receiver.
Yeah, he's done a good job back there, but, you know, when you do get enough pressure on him and it's quick enough, it has forced the bad throws. So I'd still like to see the Raider defensive line get up the field a little bit more, especially those ends, get some pressure off the edge.
Out of the gun this time. And pressure from Gibbon. He puts it up, and it's up for grabs, and almost caught. As Alex Johnson on defense, but boy, the receiver almost got behind him, almost made a circus catch.
Oh, this is one heck of a throw that he makes, because Johnson's in excellent position, and he throws it high over Johnson in the only place that he can, and it goes right through the receiver's hands. That could easily have been a touchdown. Now, that time got good, quick pressure from Ginnivan, but he came up a little gimpy and has kind of been over hands on knees, wondering if he may have cramped up a little bit on that play.
2nd and 10, Wildcats from the Raiders, 17-yard line. Hanukkah motion left to right, rolling right. Boy, there's a batted down by Ginnivan. There you go. They were just put Hanukkah in motion left to right. They were going to get him out in the flat, and Tried to pass and get him and knocked it down. So a big 3rd and 10 for the Wildcats from the Raiders' 17.
Well, and the key is he gets up the field enough, too, so he's in the throwing lane. If he doesn't get up the field, they can still get the ball out there to the dangerous wide receiver. So, you know, I mentioned you got to figure they're going to get the ball to Hanukkah. How many plays has that been on this drive? He's their big play guy.
With 5:53 remaining, the Raiders that 10-point lead, 31-21, but Hayden threatening 3rd and 10 from the Frontenac 17-yard line. Play clock down to 3. Getting set. And they got the play away pressure. Puts it up for grabs for Hanukkah. And it's batted down. Ishamir, a great defensive effort.
Yeah, and he just threw this one up figuring let his wide receiver go after the ball, but Ishamira does a great job and goes up, didn't try to pick it. He was just trying to swat it away and did a good enough job to keep it away from Hanukkah. Excellent position and a good play on the ball.
Well, I'll tell you, that play clock almost got to 0. That was close.
They did. I do believe they got it off in time, though, so a good non-call by the officials. Now 4th and 10, and with only 5:48, quite frankly, this could be the ball game.
4th and 10, Hayden from the Frontenac 17-yard line. And timeout called by Topeka. Hayden with 5:48 remaining. Frontenac the 31-21 lead. And Hayden with a 4th and 10 from the Frontenac 17. Let's keep it here. And
that could be, that could be a big. Now, obviously, it's 4th and 10. You need to get your play call correct. So I think if you're unsure, taking a timeout is proper. But you know, that is one less timeout that they will have because they're going to have to use them. Even if they manage to score here, they're going to have to use their timeouts on defense because they are down to 2 scores. So that could hurt them, you know, as far as clock management, having to take that timeout. At the same time, you got to be sure of this play call. Does give the Raiders a chance to get over and collect their breath because they've had a couple players, you know, limping back to the line a little bit after some plays, still playing hard, but gives them a chance to rest as well. So, but what a huge play we've got, and just what a football game we have had tonight. It's just been the excitement through and through.
We got a couple out wide right, Hanukkah wide left, out of the gun. Houston, single blocking back behind him, looking to throw, retreating, looking over the middle, puts it up for grab. Boy, a push off, it's going to be picked off. Ishamira has it. Green, clear sailing along the near sideline. One man to beat, he's going to go all the way. Ishamira picks it off. A 95-yard interception return for a touchdown.
So, no flag on the crackback, I do not believe, but there is a flag on the far side. Way over on the far side of the field.
What could you have seen?
I have no idea what this might be. Now, Ginnivan got a crackback, which I thought was supposed to be an illegal block. Sometimes it's been called this time, sometimes it's not. Great pressure on the quarterback, forced him to just throw the ball up high. Ishamira comes over, makes the play. Now, and now another flag comes out. This, after.
I don't know if the coach is yelling at him from midfield, actually, while they're attending to the player who is down.
I think this is 2 separate fouls, though, so we'll have to see what these calls are. Now, the Raiders, are they acting as if?
The big problem was the intended receiver pushed off, and I thought he was going to clear enough space to try and make the catch. Well, it was well overthrown, and Ishamira had it. It
was great discipline by the coverage. They were back in the zone. Ishamira stayed home as his man went to the middle of the field. They had the crossing pattern coming, hoping Ishamira would have left his spot. He didn't and was able to make a play on the ball. So officials now talking about what's going on is there was a flag thrown during the play and then another flag thrown well after the play, which I believe is going to be unsportsmanlike conduct against Topeka Hayden. The question is, what is the first call as to whether the touchdown is going to stand or not? Either way, it should be Raider football because I believe both flags came out well after the interception. So one way or the other, either the Raiders just scored or they are going to have the football.
We're down to 5:32 remaining in Frontenac, that 31-21 lead.
And suddenly there's an awful lot going on even though there's no play going on.
And Boy, this is, I hate to say this, but usually it ends up when you get the white hat with his compadres huddled around him, it's not a good ruling.
They've made a decision, so here come the calls.
Uh-oh. Personal foul. Unsportsmanlike, Frontenac. And personal foul, unsportsmanlike.
But if this is a dead ball, the touchdown should count. If this is dead ball, that's after the play, so the touchdown should count.
He put up hand, dead ball.
So that is a touchdown. Yes, and now the field goal team.
All right, 95-yard touchdown.
The pick six, a 100-yard return for Ishimura, and then it's offsetting unsportsmanlike. So I would assume that a player for Frontenac, right after the touchdown, immediately either said or did something out on the field, as this game's been chippy all along. Then you get the either retaliation or the argument afterwards gets the offsetting. So the touchdown is going to stand. The Raiders are going to go up another score, as the white hat is making sure he tells both head coaches exactly what's going on.
Just huge. 2 pick sixes here. And the Raiders lead at 37-21 with 5:32 remaining. And I don't know. Now, this seeing well behind. I don't know what would have been over there, what they could have seen, because the play was to the near side. That official was on the far side and threw one in the middle of the field. I don't know. But we had one of the Wildcats down at about the 30, and apparently a good.
Well, that was basically the crackback block that Ginnivan laid out, which, this year sometimes that's been called. Some officials have called it. Some crews have not.
Touchdown. There's the official. And unsportsmanlike against Frontenac now.
Yeah, and
they're just regurgitating what happened. They're offsetting dead ball foul. So the extra point attempt coming up.
Yeah, and Coach Smith now just kind of went up and down the bench, I think, having one more talk about, hey, keep your composure here. Nothing silly, nothing stupid. Don't help them out.
And the extra point attempt coming up. Trey Harris out of Jake Wilbert's hold. Good snap, placement down, kick is up, and
no good.
No good. So the Raiders with the 37-21 lead.
Technically, that's a big miss because it's a 16-point game. That's a touchdown and two touchdowns, two two-point conversions. So technically, it is still just a two-possession game.
5:32 remaining. Frontenac 37-21 lead. The Raiders to kick off. Trey Harris at the 40. And boy, what a football game this sub-state is. The Raiders with the big second half, a couple of pick sixes, and again, like I said, that was a big miss on that extra point.
Yeah, if he makes that one, basically, that's a three-possession game. How are you going to score 3 times in 5.5 minutes? Now, it's still just a two-possession game. This one not quite over yet.
So teeing it up at the 40 is Trey Harris. In 5:32 remaining, 37-21 Frontenac lead, and Colgan held on to win their game over at Hutchfield and Pittsburgh over Opie, so they're heading to the 2-1A division.
In St. Paul and 8-man, they came back and got a victory over Burlingame in their game.
Big
so
win for
they come back, and then in 3A, Sabetha defeated Silver Lake 17-14.
Wow.
So a traditional power in Silver Lake going down tonight.
So here we go. Raider fans on their feet, and hopefully you think the 8 minutes was a long one. Now about 5:32. This could last a lifetime. Back to receive the kick, Purnell. Also back there along with Anand and Miller.
And you would have to assume that after this kickoff, the ball will be in the air. Topeka Hayden should go through the air, you would think. So some pass rush could be the difference here in these last couple of minutes here.
Yeah, boy, this one kind of shanked it as they had to bring up a holder. And boy, back out the middle, still on his feet. One of the upbacks out across the 35 to about the 36-yard line.
That's if you're not going to kick it in the end zone, though, I'd rather go to one of those up backs. And, yeah, you gave him decent field position, but you really eliminate the big run and the quick touchdown by having a kick like that. So, it's 36-yard line. It's pretty good field position, but still a pretty long field to go when you need a couple scores and the two-point conversions with just 5:26.
I believe that was Joe Kennedy on the return. I believe was the short kick. And Wildcats will start 1st and 10 from their own 36-yard line. Getting out of the gun. Now motion and trips to the left side. Put it up over the middle, and it is, stripped. Nice play by Ishamira as the pass was completed. He just took it out of the receiver's hands, and I believe at the receiving end was Matthew Moore, and he got stripped.
Yeah, he does a good job coming off his coverage, reading the pass, but I tell you, they ended up having a receiver going deep that opened up after Ishamira left his man. So if you're going to do that, you better be absolutely sure that he's throwing the ball to somebody else, because otherwise, if that's a pump fake, they had somebody deep.
Wide to the right goes Federico, also Hanukkah, also one in the slot to the right. One wide out left. Now they motion Van Beesler to the right side. Pressured, putting it up for grabs, and it is interrupted. Did Wilbur get the interception? He had to be going for the football. He picked it off, and he's loose along the near side. 30, tripped up and brought down at the 20. And the flag is down, and my, he was playing the ball, came up with it.
I think he may have shoved the receiver before he reached over to make the catch. I think this is going to go against the Raiders for pass interference.
And it will. Boy, that was a nice play by Wilbur, though. He picked it off and returned it down to the 19. But
yeah, I think he did bump the receiver before the ball got there, before he made a play on the football. So I think this is actually a pretty decent call.
5:09 remaining. Frontenac the 37-21 lead. Pass interference against the Raiders will give the Wildcats, again, another first down via the penalty route.
But you can see with the immediate pressure, if you get pressure on this quarterback quickly, he's just going to throw it up in the air and put it up for grabs. So keep that pressure going. I think that means blitzing some linebackers.
Yannicka's wide to the right, and one of the wideouts comes from the that's a substitution penalty. He came off the sideline, immediately lined up, and one left, and flag went down.
Exactly right. So moving back 5 yards.
So it'll be 1st and 15. Wildcats from their own 46-yard line. 5:09 remaining. Frontenac the 37-21 lead. So like you said, they're going to be putting her up now. And again, the pressure's big key here, and you don't want to get deep, obviously.
Yeah, this is a case where you've got to be willing to give up the short throw. If they want to throw it short, let them catch it and come up and make the tackle. Let that clock run a little bit. You just can't give up anything big.
Trips right, and then they motion to the right side. Final pressure the quarterback on a throwback, and off the hand to the intended receiver, and wide open was Connor McGee, and he dropped it.
Well, and this is the route comes because they ran a blitz off the outside with Cooper Loy, which is unusual for the Raiders, and that pass ends up in the area that he would have been dropped back in his zone coverage. So, the perfect play call really for Topeka Hayden, receiver wide open in the vacated area, and just went right through his hands. The Raiders catch a break.
2nd and 15. Hayden from its own 46-yard line with 5:05 remaining. Frontenac a 16-point lead. Trips right once again. And being sacked is the quarterback. Gittivan corralled the quarterback, Samson Houston. I don't know what he was doing.
Well, I think that was a designed run. I think it's one of those we're throwing. Let's see if we can sneak a run through there. Quarterback tried to keep it, and the Raiders just had nothing to do with it. And that will keep the clock running. That's the danger, that's the chance you take if you're going to run the football. If you don't get a first down and get out of bounds, that clock's just going to keep on ticking.
3rd and 20. Wildcats from their own 41 with 4.5 minutes remaining. Boy, obviously 4 downs if they don't get it this time. And motion right to left brings Trips to the left side. Looking to go long, throwing it up over the middle, and it is off the fingertips of the intended receiver, Hanukkah. 2 defenders there, Ishamira, along with Wilbert.
Really good coverage, and it's basically a flood route the way they run this. The motion man's going to go in the flat. They're going to send Hanukkah deep and on basically a flag route, a deep out. and then they have another receiver running out in the middle. All three guys well covered, and Hanukkah was bracketed, and that's the guy you really got to watch. You do not want to let him get open. So excellent coverage. 4th and 20 now. The Raiders can hold. That might do it.
4th and 20, Wildcats from their own 41-yard line with 4:19 remaining. Frontenac the 37-21 lead. And now a mix-up, a penalty flag goes down. They run out of time. They'll put them back another 5 yards, and they will face a 4th and 25 from their own. Well, it's going to be at the 36-yard line.
Well, that's, 2 or 3 times that they have had delay of game penalties tonight. And I think a lot of that really is this officiating crew has just not wasted any time. I mean, they have set the ball down and whistled it ready for play. So normally you get a little more time.
Motion left to right, goes Moore, rolling right, and they give it a little draw play, and he stopped for a gain of about a yard, and that's going to do it.
I mean, this was, I guess you'd call this like a Statue of Liberty. The fullback crouched down like he was trying to hide, and the quarterback's going to act like he's going to roll out, but he slips him the ball. But the Raiders, it was not really that tricky. That's an amazing call on 4th and 25. Why you wouldn't just throw it up to your big receiver and see if he can make a play for you. And the Raiders take over with 4:18 to go. That's shocking.
And a 16-point lead, and they're at the Hayden 38-yard line. And there's the handoff to Wilbert, and he's dragging tacklers. Hang on to the football.
Absolutely.
Boy. He's taking shots down at the 30, but he still picked up about 7, maybe 8 yards.
And this is a case, hold on to the football, 2 hands. But then also, once you start being contacted, there's nothing wrong with going down. There's no need to fight for extra yards right now. Make sure you keep the ball, keep that clock running. Topeka Hayden has 2 timeouts left to go as we're now under 4 minutes to go.
3:50, clock moving. Frontenac the 37-21 lead. The Raiders face a 2nd and 2 from the Wildcats 30-yard line. Play clock to 5, down to 4. Get the play off, barely. Give the Clothier up the middle, and he's got a first down and hang on to the ball. He's down inside the 20 near the 17.
Yeah, it didn't look very good because it looked pretty confusing, but everything turned out okay. And a big hole in the front. I tell you, give so much credit tonight to this Raider offensive line. They have played a tremendous game up front. They're outsized up front. It just hasn't mattered. They have created some holes you could drive a truck through, and that was another one for Clothier. And that first down is going to keep that clock going.
1st and 10, Raiders. The Wildcats 17-yard line. Out of the gun. It's Brown with the snap. Give to Wilbert. Tries the left side and just drop. Maybe got a yard, but the main thing, the clock is moving.
Yep, hold on to that ball. And at some point, you'd figure Hayden has to take their timeouts. I would say after this snap, I would figure
so.
you would have to use your
left.
2.
And 2:45 and the clock's moving. Frontenac the 37-21 lead. Why are you leaving, folks? Come here to joy.
I think they may be going down to celebrate, possibly. And give Peyton Brown some credit, although I think they're going to call timeout with 1 second. But he's been doing a good job of keeping an eye on that play clock. He's been snapping it under 3 seconds for the last 2 or 3 plays.
So 2:27 remaining. Frontenac a 37-21 lead, and the Raiders with a 2nd and 9. From the Wildcats 16-yard line, and a timeout taken, and I'm sure Coach Smith saying, hang on to the football, get where you can, don't cough it up, and don't respond to any antics.
Absolutely. Keep your cool right now. Possession more important than yardage. So even if you don't get any more yards here, you're going to waste time and their timeouts, more importantly, and that clock's just going to keep ticking down. If they get one more first down, this thing's basically over.
And
what a performance in the second half.
Unbelievable. I mean, we were saying it was taking the path exactly of the whole game. You get a lead, get down by a touchdown. You get the lead, and instead of them coughing it up, we get a 2-touchdown lead. They tie it up after that, 21 all at half. It's now 37-21. And again, the Raiders, they've, like I mentioned, they've been ahead in every game.
Yeah,
scored first in every game except the Colton game when they got shut out, and that's worked well. I mean, they did. To Galena got down, Labette County, those, But still, they were battles. But it's nice to get that early lead and then go from there, and the Raiders have all season long. Out of the gun, Brown gives it. There's Wilbert, and he's going to be hemmed in and loses a yard or two. I'll call it, blow the whistle, man.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there. You can't play him like that. He's well stopped. You know that.
Well, and they were, I think, trying to rip at the ball, and I think it started ripping at his head, quite frankly.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what they've probably been told to stay away from and don't react to. So it's going to be.
That's, there's one thing to rip at the ball. It's another to get a little carried away and go at somebody's head. That just starts to become a little bit dirty.
So now, well, we're going to have a discussion again. And, Wilbur ran that football. He's a little hot. He comes over near the sideline to get him away from it.
This could possibly be an ejection. Peevler has come out of the football game, and yes,
they kicked him out.
He has been ejected.
Yes, indeed.
I think rightfully so.
Well, mark it off. We're close to a first down. And we just head to the final. 2:20 remaining. Frontenac 37-21.
And I think we get to keep the down as well.
2nd and 2 for the Raiders. Football inside the 10, near the 9 of the Wildcats.
No rush there, fellas. You got 15 on the clock. We're
moving.
okay.
You can be under 2 minutes when you snap this thing. Now, turn around and talk to Alex Johnson, who's in the tailback slot, and they give it to him.
Hold on to the ball. There you
down
go.
At the 8-yard line. He picks up about a yard.
Good job. 2 hands on the ball. Covered it well.
Clock moving. 1:49. Let it go on. You can get it down to 1:20 or so. 37-21 lead in third and a couple for the Raiders. Football at the 8 of the Wildcats.
And Topeka Hayden not using their timeouts makes you wonder if they're just saying, okay, that's good.
Well, that's what we're looking at right now. Now go up there and get this snap so that play clock down to 4. Right out of the gun. 2, they get it in. They give it up in the middle of Johnson, nothing. And boy, then he's planted back there after no gain. And see if they take it now.
Yeah, and they brought the linebacker right up the middle, so basically had 3 guys over center more or less. So, but no, it looks like they are not going to take their timeout.
Boy, clock moving down. Boy, we're flirting with 1 minute remaining. 1 minute.
The Raiders
20 seconds on the shot clock.
They won't have to snap this.
37-21. Frontenac the lead in the football. A 4th and 3 from the Wildcats 10. And I don't know, maybe they may go ahead and just call the timeout.
Looks that way.
And get the play clock or the clock to 40, and 40 seconds remaining before the timeout. And 37-21, the Raiders with a 4th and 3 from the Hayden 10, and we're going to keep it here. And what a performance!
Absolutely, and a great first half. Both teams just duking it out, very even. Second half, the Raiders, now the defense has given up yards, but when they've needed to make a big play, they've made it. The 2 pick sixes here, and it was started with pressure on the quarterback, and he will just toss it up in the air. Defensive backs have done a great job playing the ball all night long, really. 2 pick sixes, the difference in the game. No points allowed in the second half by the Raider defense.
So they take the timeout. 40 seconds left. Frontenac the 37-21 lead. The Raiders with a 4th and 3 from the Hayden 10. Boy, you don't still security, ball security, whatever you try. And
we'll see the play call here. It wouldn't surprise me if they try to get a little to the outside, as Topeka Hayden has been stuff in the middle the last couple plays.
Ishamir wide left, double tights. Brown. Oh, they rolled the snap back to Peyton Brown. Now he's running backwards. Just kill some time again. Ginnivan back there, and he has run out of bounds. And boy, did well to end up only losing about 1 yard.
And I really thought he may toss it up to Ginnivan and let him take a chance.
So we're down to 32 seconds left, and the Wildcats take over. They have a 1st and 10 from their own 11-yard line. In 2 timeouts.
And I would assume this is the case. You got your corners and at least 1 safety, if not 2 safeties, be about 20, 25 yards back.
I would blitz a linebacker, maybe even both linebackers, try to get some quick pressure, force the quick throw.
Well, what's the, you mentioned the flea flicker, like that type thing, something maybe coming out of the woodwork. Wide to the right goes Hanukkah. Federico in the slot right. Slot left, that is Moore. Dropping back with Houston, pressured, puts it up, and it is complete. Oh, Hanukkah, they missed his tackle on him, and now he is loose, and then he's run out of bounds near the 35. Boy. You can't let him get by you like that.
Yeah, it did exactly what we wanted him to do. Actually, he caught the ball shy of the first down inbounds. You've got a chance to make that tackle. If you make that tackle, this game is over. Instead, he's able to get out of bounds. Now, there's only 24 seconds, so it's going to take a miracle for Topeka Hayden. But at the same time, that could have pretty well ended it.
Still have the 2 timeouts.
Well, that's true.
Blackouts. 1st and 10. Hayden now from its own 33-yard line. Again, hit right side, complete, and then keeping them inbounds. I believe that time they did. Now they stopped the clock. Was that Federico over there and able to pick up about 8 yards on that completion?
Well, they didn't give him a very generous spot over there, but did say he got out of bounds to stop the clock. But 19 seconds to go, and it looks like this is going to be the first time the Raiders are back in the state championship game since 2000.
2nd and 2. Wildcats from their own 41-yard line with 19 seconds left in front of the 37-21 lead. Rolling right. Oh, it's intercepted by Ginneman, and he is drugged down at the 21-yard line. They tried the quick out. He picked it off and headed the other way, and that'll do it.
He's batted it down 3 times tonight. This time he bats it down to himself, makes the pick, and you're right. That's going to end it. The Raiders should line up in victory formation, take a knee, and head to the state championship in Salina next week.
And again, we have.
And it looks like the Raiders are likely to take on Holcomb. 2 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Holcomb 34, Scott City 13.
So 1st and 10 Raiders from the 22 of the Wildcats, and 14 seconds remaining. They take the knee, and the Raiders are going to advance to the state title game 1 week from tomorrow in Salina. What a performance by the Frontenac Raiders, and this huge crowd celebrating. And
unbelievable. Honestly, it's a little unbelievable. If you'd have told me 5 or 6 weeks ago the Raiders this year would play for a state championship, I'm not sure I would have believed you. But ever since the Columbus game, something changed. The Raiders played so much better, so together. All of a sudden, much more galvanized. The offense started getting things going. They played better every single week since the Columbus game, and tonight, no exception. A tremendous performance by this Frontenac Raider football team, and now have a chance to do something that's only happened one other time in school history. They have a chance to win a state championship in football.
And, the players filing by each other. What a battle that was. And, boy, what a win for the Raiders. I know they have to be ecstatic. And you said it's been a while, but I'm just hoping, I hope you grab my kid before the game, told him not to dance if they do win. He's taking a lot of criticism about that.
You know, Rob, if he doesn't dance tonight, something's wrong with him. Come on.
That could be. Anyway, big win. The Raiders advance to the state title game, and it looks like they'll be taking on Holcomb. And tell you what, we'll get Mark Smith up here, and we'll get the celebrating going here. I know they got to be ecstatic, and I don't know. That's a group dejected. Hayden Wildcats. I think they came in here. Just an observation from demeanor and the like, just did not think this would be a ball game.
Yeah, and I think they thought they were coming and going to bully the Frontenac Raiders around, quite frankly. I think physically and mentally thought they were going to come and be the big bad bully of 4A Division II. And I think they found out very quickly in this game that wasn't going to be the case. And they tried it all night long, and it was never the case. Yeah. The Frontenac Raiders were every bit as physical, if not more physical, quite frankly. And they absolutely deserved this football game. I believe they were the better team.
And played well. You know, they got the lead, fell behind.
Well,
got the lead, tied it up, and then took control in the second half, which they have been doing all along. And
and they've shown in the last few weeks the ability to deal with some adversity, the ability to say, that's okay, I'm going to come back and we're going to make something happen. Did it last week, definitely did it this week. Topeka Hayden had a lot of momentum going at times, and then the Raiders would just be able to find a way to make a play. Because now they're getting the
plaque,
sub-state championship plaque, yes, and the team, Coach Smith got out of there real quick. He grabbed it from Mr. Colton, the athletic director, and handed it to a player and got out of there real fast.
They got to be ecstatic because, this is, going in kind of the year after, I mean, we disappointment last year, and they had some growing pains and have responded well. Now you find yourself playing for a state title, and how exciting is that? And I know the kids just have to be ecstatic. I mean, that's the best word I can come up with. I mean, and I know that makes this next week. Well, tomorrow will be real nice, and then start dragging, I'm guessing. I don't know. and you throw a Thanksgiving holiday in there. Yeah. Man, oh, man, this is going to be a long week. I'll tell you what. But, boy, they're kneeling down, getting the pictures, and I know the celebration is going to begin, and they got to be very excited about advancing to a title game once again. Why not, while we have a moment, I'll try and why don't we go over the scoring summary right now. Raiders scored first with 5:45 remaining in the first quarter. 5-yard run by Peyton Brown. Trey Harris, extra point good. 5:45 left first quarter. Frontenac led 7-0. Then with 12 seconds remaining in the first quarter, the Wildcats scored 71-yard touchdown pass from Houston to Moore. The extra point attempt failed, so Frontenac still had a 7-6 lead with 12 seconds remaining in the first quarter. That's the way the first quarter ended. Raiders up by a point, 7-6. 10:57 remaining in the second quarter. The Wildcats took the lead on a 42-yard touchdown pass from Houston to Hanukkah. The two-point conversion, Houston to Moore, and Hayden had the 14-7 lead with 10:57 remaining in the first half. And the Raiders scored with 4:50 remaining in half number one. Wilbert, a 13-yard run. Harris good on the extra point, knotted things at 14. Then with 2:57 remaining in the first half, Wilbert again from 4 yards out. Harris again good on the extra point. Frontenac led at 21-14 with 2:57 remaining in the first half. Then 49 seconds remaining in the first half. Wildcats knotted it. The 4-yard run by Van Beesler. Mativi's extra point was good. It was 21-21 with 49 seconds remaining in the first half. That was the score at halftime, knotted at 21. Second half, all Raiders. And really turned it around when the Wildcats were on a drive, but with 5:02 remaining in the third quarter, Riley McDaniel, a pick six, 90 yards. Harris good, the extra point. Frontenac led 28-21 with 5:02 remaining third quarter. That was the score at the end of the third quarter, 28-21, and that just turned the game around. Then you went to the fourth quarter with 8 minutes remaining. Harris, a 30-yard field goal, which was huge, gave them the two-score lead. 30-yard field goal. The Raiders led at 31-21 with 8 minutes remaining, and then with 5:32 remaining, the pick six by Ishimura. And I don't know if it's 95 or 100, somewhere in there anyway, scored. The extra point attempt failed, which was big because that kept it at 2 scores, but Frontenac had a 37-21 lead with 5:32 remaining. It's the final score of the Raiders win at 37-21. Sub-state title, head to the championship game against Holcomb 1 week from tomorrow, Saturday, at 1 in Salina. And got to be very excited as the Raiders improve their season mark to 9-3. And Hayden finishes at 7-5, and celebration out on the field now is a lot of the kids out there, and they've got to be ecstatic. And of course, we wait for Mark Smith. He's being hounded there by other reporters and the like. But wow, what a big win right there! I mean, this has been a great crowd. Great venue, big, they had a lot of participation, set the town on its ear. Haven't had a semifinal here in, because they won the semi in 2000 up at Rock Creek. Yeah. And so
it's been a very long time. And I tell you, people really came out for this game. I've never seen this stadium this full. I don't know that there was an empty seat, and I didn't think we could ever fill this place. It's the stadium's just quite frankly so big. I think it was full tonight, and they were loud, and they were loud all night. even when Topeka Hayden had some things going, the crowd did everything they could to lift the boys back up, and the boys just found a way. Every time Hayden made a run at them, found a way to make a big play, and just it's an incredible performance.
And they're celebrating out on the field as, boy, they got to be ecstatic. And how nice is that? You know, we had the disappointment last year, the #1 team, and lose, and now we've taken a couple of steps further, and it's I think the only one, maybe the coaches, some of the parents, and the kids who made their grades, abided by the rules, or with this group right here. Maybe they thought they could get this far. That was about it. Most of the 99.9% of the people from the get-go wouldn't expect this, but they've gotten better as the season got along. They're playing their best ball at the end of the season when you need to.
Absolutely, and I said last week, I said after the Columbus game, if this team plays the way they're capable of playing, they could beat anybody. And they haven't just played as capable as they are. They have played phenomenal football, better every single week since then. And, won 6 in a row, find themselves in the state championship game.
And that's where you want to be. And it'll be interesting. Boy, that'll be a battle. Tough Holcomb team. I think they got revenge as they knocked off Scott County, the team that beat them during the regular season. So they've got to be ecstatic, and we're waiting. Is Mark coming up this way?
Yeah, he's heading up this way.
He's got to grab the kids, and they got to come up. Will's got to come up, and then we'll pick his brain. I know he's got to be ecstatic as he's again taking another step they hadn't taken before, and I'm gonna go down and participate in the celebration here after a second here after we get to talk to Mark. He's a lot younger than us. I'd have to catch my
running
breath.
Up here.
I'd really have to catch my breath. I said, you know what I'm saying? If it was me, I'd have to catch my breath. But he's a lot younger than me and a lot better shape than me, so I'm gonna, try and regroup here and let the celebration begin. And boy, I'll tell you what, how exciting was that?
Man, I'm proud of the kids. I knew we were playing with so much confidence. If we get off to a good start, our kids would just keep battling the whole game. Hayden was tremendous in that first half on offense, man. They were very balanced. They answered a few touchdowns, and our kids just kept answering back, which was huge. Our defense had some huge turnovers, a couple pick sixes, and just can't explain the effort they gave tonight. It was pretty awesome.
And, you come in, you look at the experts, which I guess at this point in the season, if you'd listened to them, we'd have been in a lot of trouble. But anyway, this is going to surprise some people, but the only ones that I don't think will surprise the coaches, the kids out on the field, and a lot of the parents. And I think they thought they'd come in here, had, known about Hayden, seen about Hayden, and figured they could beat him.
Oh, definitely. Our kids were playing with so much confidence. We knew we wouldn't be picked to win the game just because of their tradition, power, just their playmakers. And our kids kind of just use that as fuel. I was like, I told the guys to pick against you because that's what we like. So we like being the underdog, having a chip on our shoulder. Our seniors have had it for all year. I'm just very proud of the way they responded and played together.
And, again, you got the first score, got the lead. And, it looked like a carbon copy of Holton. They, tie us quick, get the lead again, then we tie it, and they got it tied at halftime, and then it just dominated that second half.
Oh, huge in the second half. Our defense was tremendous. Our pick sixes, I think we got a little pressure by our D-line, kind of made him throw it up to his big receiver. And our D-backs just made plays. They were undersized, but they just kept competing. And once we got those picks, man, our guys are playmakers with the ball. I told the team before the game, both teams want this bad. It's going to come down to the guys making plays when you have a chance, and I think our kids did that.
And they did that and came out. And, and I said just the demeanor, the tradition, the Hayden and everything. And you got the impression they got down here and didn't think they'd have much of a game. That's just kind of
it's hard to say that, but they were confident they were going to win, I believe.
Yeah, they should
be. And our kids fought hard. I thought we were very physical up front. We ran the ball well, which was huge to set the tone. I thought Peyton ran the ball well again, Gage, Jake. We didn't throw the ball much. We didn't have to. They were trying to key on Brock, but he was a tremendous blocker for us in our sets. So I know we're on the Holcomb, so it's going to be a great challenge.
And, boy, you look back, I'm thinking about 8th grade when this team couldn't win a game in junior high. They really struggled. There's what you do, hard work, getting in the weight room and listening to the coaches, drinking milk and getting your sleep and studying. That's the recipe, isn't it?
I don't know how much they're studying, but they're sacrificing the summer. They're disciplined to be there every day in the summer. It's really paid off, and they were kind of overshadowed their whole career, and they made a name for themselves and will be legends in Frontenac history.
Yeah, and 1 week from tomorrow up at Salina, 1 o'clock. And it looks like Holcomb. That'll be a battle once again, but gosh, you got to take a day and enjoy this at least. I know this was about the longest week of my life this last week, building up to this.
The kids wanted to play Monday. I was like, you got to let your body recoup.
I know.
It was a
I
long
know,
week.
I know. I had mine laying around all Saturday. He was sore from the game before, and by Sunday he started bouncing around, and I said, hey, I'm getting up there in age. I can't be bouncing around with you. You got to wait about 4 days. Then we'll get after it. So, hey, we appreciate it. Of course, big 37-21 win. Go down and celebrate. And, of course, we'll be out with Salina with you. And, boy, keep it up. Just a great job. I know you got to be ecstatic.
Thank you. We're proud of the kids.
And that's Mark Smith, Frontenac. 37-21 win over Topeka Hayden. Advances to the title game next Saturday, a week from tomorrow, 1 o'clock at Salina against Holcomb. So that'll about do it. Again, appreciate Taylor back at the station. And, of course, Heath Atkins on the camera and Randy Southard, the color. And the Raiders advance 37-21 over Hayden and then play Holton in the state title game 1 week from tomorrow at 1 at Salina. So you've been listening to Frontenac Raiders football.